Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to One Nation Radio. I'm James Boyd, and here with me I have Rich Latta. As often we've had to do throughout 2020, we're going to start this show talking about a lot of some of the deaths we've witnessed and have touched. I know me and Rich's life for people that we care about, but also some of you that are listeners. Chadwick Boseman and John Thompson, along with Lute Olson and Cliff Robertson, all died this past week. People say the stuff about things coming in threes. Well, 2020 sucks so much that it comes in fours.
Yeah.
I've talked to Rich about this often, about black actors and black A-list actors and how we've had so few of them in our lifetime. And we always talked about like the younger generation, and the young generation for us is like Chadwick Boseman at 43, and Michael B. Jordan is like, these are the people that, as long, we can no longer pretend that Denzel Washington is not in his 60s anymore. Like he can't be in that kind of same role, right? Like he's even doing action movies about him being old, like Equalizer. Chadwick Boseman was important. This before Black Panther and T'Challa and all that. Like you go back to 42, he's Jackie Robinson. He plays Thurgood Marshall before Black Panther. He's James Brown and Get On Up. And James Brown was a performance where I thought, like, this is a movie that has a number of misses in it. But by the time he gets to, I think it's at the end of the movie, Ohio, I think they're in Ohio. He's in the red suit walking through in his dark light. By the time you get to that in the third act where he's walking to the stage, you forget that is not James Brown. You actually think that's James Brown. He was so good in his fucking role. And
what instrument is that, James?
That's another part. Yes, when he tells Maceo Parker that your trumpet player, your trumpet is a drum as well. But he was somebody that was just that talented, and to find out that he's, with the role of a lifetime with T'Challa and with all this newfound fame, and him having to, the fame being so bright that everywhere they ask him to go, they ask him to do the fucking Wakanda Forever pose. Everywhere he goes, and you see the sadness in his eyes because he's been asked to do this for literally 11 times. Become that famous and do all of that with all of that stress while fighting for his life. It's just like, what a person, right? I just, I have not watched Black Panther.
He never said a word about it. Like, right. No one knew. He essentially, like, when Black Panther came out, like, and, I saw Get On Up, of course. I saw when he portrayed Jackie Robinson as well. But, like, when you see him in Black Panther, and, me especially I don't watch the superhero movies and all that, but, like, I watched Black Panther again. I watched some of it Saturday night, and it was just like, I can't believe this. Like, right. it was just so shocking. And then, the first time, I saw him, I just loved the whole movie, and he was like a big part of that. And it just felt like something that like made sense for me, at least. And this was just like, yo, man, it's just so sad, because it's like, how do you prevent this? Like, and it's like, by the time the man got diagnosed, he was at stage 3. So it's like, your clock's ticking, and it's just a bad, like, sad situation all around.
Yeah. Like, to have that kind of, basically the world is his from that point forward. Like, he gets that movie, he was already, he's already like B-list celebrity level, all that kind of stuff. But like, this was the engine, for Michael B. Jordan and Chadwick Boseman to pretty much be able to step into that role to where they can pretty much get most things they want greenlit. Step into a production roles, you know? Like, this is supposed to lead to, you know, moving on up, like, you know, on the east side. But, you know, we talk about all for progression for all, you know, for everywhere, like whether it's music industry or whatever, or in film, and he was going to get, you know, given the roles he took, and given, you know, some of the things we've heard about him over the years, like, I think he was going to open the door for a lot of black talent over the next few years, you know, along with the rest of the the rest of black Hollywood that's super elite too, like, you know, like Ava DuVernay and Ryan Coogler, and I thought this was going to be the next wave, and you hear about how close knit all of those like elites are, like Gabrielle Union, another example. Like, I thought he was going to help shepherd a lot of that in over the next few years, and unfortunately, it's not going to happen. But you know, rest in power to him. I mean, he has a legacy. Like, he legitimately has a legacy given the roles he took and how good he was at these roles. You know, there is I don't want to say typecast, but like he had a thing that he wanted to do and he enjoyed to do, playing these biopics, and he knocked them out the park, almost every single one of them. So, shouts out to him.
Legend shit only. Like. Yeah,
pretty much. Like, I mean, he was all, you know, you look at Twitter and see people talk about, like, he kept playing all of these heroes, all of these, you know, someone that's a hero to other people, right? Whether it's Jackie Robinson or Thurgood Marshall or James Brown, and then he plays a fucking superhero, literally. It's like, it's, you know, like, I'm not going to get into Black Panther in the future for that. They're not going to shut that down. They're making too much money off that, but whatever. We'll figure hopefully whatever they do comes in good in appropriate taste. But I'm from now on, I'm just moving on to John Thompson.
I woke up this morning and saw that and it was like, wow. Just like the quote unquote hits keep coming. And it was like, John Thompson was a little bit before my time. Like, I started watching college basketball in the late 90s. He's kind of heading out of Georgetown, right. Of course, like, but then you start learning about the history of John Thompson and then the kind of man he was. And you always, we've talked about it on this show, like with the older generation and how they treat the younger generation. John Thompson was somebody that like was willing to look past a lot of like quote unquote red flags about people to realize that like no matter like what kind of background, like, you know, people like Iverson, for example, come from, like, if Iverson's quote unquote untouchable, he's not untouchable for John Thompson because like you ain't gonna disrespect John Thompson. Like, I'm sorry, like it ain't happening. And legendary coach, impacted a lot of, you know, the 4 Hall of Fame players, like he recruited essentially, and and scared the shit out of white people for a real long time. John Thompson.
Look, yes, and also like don't pretend like somebody that's that size and a person that's not like a lovable giant, like he scared a lot of people, even his own I don't know, someone said students, even his own players. This is why most of them was out there walking around with their back up right. Like, you never heard about any slip ups with Iverson in Georgetown or someone with a big temper like Alonzo Mourning. None of that.
Yeah. There's a reason. Like,
right. That house was in order.
Yeah. I imagine like the respectability politics loved John Thompson. Like they were like, you keeping these whippersnappers in line. Yeah. You know.
And he's always dressed well too. So yeah. I think the thing that's notable for him is I'd have to look into it, but I have to imagine he's the first ever black coach of a Division I championship in any Major 3 sport, or Major 4 if you want to include hockey. He's the first one in basketball.
First one in basketball, yeah.
Yeah, first one in basketball. So, like, look, do you think there was any head coaching managers that won the College World Series?
No.
How about hockey? How about the Frozen Four? You think any black head coaches won the Frozen Four?
You know what? I don't think so.
Like, I mean, unless John Saunders was out here splitting his time when he was still with us, coaching Boston University between doing Sports Center and the like, also Outside the Lines. I don't recall anybody coaching hockey doing that. So yeah, I mean, there is no Nolan Richardson, there is no Kevin Ollie without John Thompson. There's not. So not to say that he spearheaded Nolan Richardson, but like, give him the opportunity to get multiple jobs. He's a very important figure. Especially to Big East basketball. Like, I was thinking about it so much as far as like, when I was a kid, it's like, to, the time I stopped watching basketball is like, until Big East basically got ripped apart. With Syracuse and UConn leaving, it was just like, for basically my entire existence, the only thing I know that matters as far as college basketball is ACC and the Big East. And these are, all hucked up in the same corridor. They're close. They're not schools that are that gigantic. And like, they keep, every single year, you already know, like, who's going to win the tourney. All right, somebody out the Big East, someone out the ACC, or like Michigan State or UCLA one random year they get their shit together, or Kansas. Like, that's pretty much what you knew. It was like, those are the two preeminent conferences. Me and you as Duke and Carolina fans, we peeped that. Like, we always used to talk about like how much we used to enjoy watching those challenges and be like, we hope we fucking win. Like, we, how we were with the Yankees and the Red Sox, as far as like, all right, one night only, put that shit aside, fuck the NL. And for me, it was always like, look, man, I hate watching Big East basketball. I don't understand why they're so good. These dudes look like they're like 30, 25. I don't get it. All of them, whether it was Syracuse or Georgetown at the time or
St. John's. Good God.
John's. Like, it's just ridiculous. Like, how
Duke loved to roll into Madison Square Garden and play St. John's and lose to some dudes that looked like they were, like these were men with jobs they were playing against.
Remember those Pittsburgh teams in the late 2000s? Remember them teams? Yeah,
Carl Krauser.
Yeah, it's just, but yeah, just, he was at the face of it. Like, there's a generation of people, the ESPN era, that are older than us, where like a lot of their childhood revolves around John Thompson versus Jim Boeheim on a random weekday, screaming their heads off at each other at refs. So,
like, when you start thinking about all those coaches like Calhoun, like Boeheim, Thompson, like, he's like, there's like this class of coaches that, like, I don't want to say it's gone, but it's like
they are.
They don't grow on trees. Like, like, they don't walk through the door every day. Like, Coach K is still hanging around.
And Roy, like, who's left?
Roy's still hanging around.
Who's left? Would you consider Calipari part of that? Because I wouldn't.
Yes.
You would? Okay.
Unfortunately, I would. He's been around long enough.
Okay.
Is Patino still around?
Patino got fired. Remember?
That's right.
He hasn't had a job since Louisville, I don't think. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But he would be a part of that too.
I wonder if he's somewhere small off the map.
We're
talking about like
maybe I'd have to look into it.
Yeah,
but yeah, just like, you think about like, how many of those guys still have jobs between Roy and Kay and Calipari and someone like even like a Bob Huggins, and you're like, all right, these the coaches are like the faces of these programs of the sport, and like, the guard has changed. Like, we're now in the, oh my God, what is Buddy from Villanova's, name? I can't believe I can't remember his name.
Jay Wright.
That's right. It's the Jay Wrights of the world. Like, that is going to be like the next generation coming through. And like, now you're thinking about it, is like, all right, Calhoun has had cancer how many times? Like, like these people that like, you know, were in your life, you know, for on and off for years as a child, are like, they're going to be gone soon, or more of them will be gone. And like the first domino is John Tompkins. So, you know, that's the part that mostly saddens me, is like, and also another part is like, he graduated almost all his kids.
All but 2, someone said.
Yeah. You know how hard that is?
Yeah.
At Georgetown? Georgetown, the school that, once you find out it's not once you realize, you're like, wait a second, this isn't HBCU, this is a Jesuit college. What? Like, people, like, a lot of lawyers come out of here. What? When do you find out that it wasn't so historically black school? When do you find out? When do you realize, come to that realization?
Not that. Like, I would have assumed like it was like another Hampton, but they were just like good or whatever. What?
Right.
I don't know. Like, yeah, it was just like probably when I was a teenager sometime.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, other coaches in another part of the generation. Lute Olson passed away recently too. Within this week. You know, think about not North Carolina, all the Arizona runs in the Final Four they had. They won a national title. Was that 97?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, think of all the players he had.
Lots of recruits.
Yeah, lots of them. He's pretty much like, after UCLA started fucking off, he basically like, I'll take all those kids that y'all are botching, and we will basically, you know, keep the Pac-10 up and running until, you know, whenever UCLA pulls his head out of his ass, which is basically once a decade now.
Yeah.
He coached a lot of NBA talent. Yeah, a lot of guys.
Yeah.
Like from Kerr to Richard Jefferson to Jason Terry to, just lots of guys. Iguodala, just tons of guys. Gilbert Arenas,
Cliff
right?
Robinson, like, Gilbert Arenas definitely.
Yeah.
He was on the team with Lauren Woods in 2001, as well as, what was his name? It was a forward. I think it was Richard Jefferson was on that team with them.
Yeah.
But he was like a freshman or something.
Yeah, he was super young.
Luke Walton. Yeah, just tons of guys.
That's right.
Liam Stoudemire.
All
remember
American.
him?
Yep. Yeah. What's his name? Didn't he have? He had a guard that was a shooter. His last name was Shakur, right?
Mustafa Shakur.
Mustafa Shakur.
I think.
Yeah, man, like, lots of great college players. He kept turning them out, at a school where I can't imagine that's easy to do because the talent's not close by. So, yeah. Then you mentioned
Mike Bibby, Damon Stoudemire,
lots of talent.
Jared Bayless.
Yeah.
I think he was still there.
Yep, that was towards the end.
Yeah, lots of fucking guys. Like, so anyway, rest in peace to Lute Olson as well. And then Cliff Robinson was the last person that died. Cliff Robinson just always kind of like, if you're James and I's age, just kind of like an NBA staple you grew up with. Like, you never knew what team Cliff Robinson would be on, but you would always see him, and you would always see the headband in the playoffs somewhere, like in the second round or something like that. And, you know, like one of the headband forefathers.
A dude that I think, you know, given his game, if he came around later, he probably would end up being even better. As a person that was a, you know, perennial rotation guy in the NBA for years and years and years, because he would have been a better shooter than he was. Then he had a shot. He was able to guard multiple positions. He would have made a lot of money in this day's NBA if he came around, you know, 20 years later. But yeah, I don't even know what the cause of his death was. I just heard, but I was like, I can't really. He's only like 50 something, if early 50s.
Yeah, 53.
Yeah, you know,
crazy.
Yeah. I I wonder if I have to go look around and see if like Clifford Robinson has any interviews on like talking about Clyde Drexler during the '92 finals. Because like when you have got to, because the classic picture when you have Michael Jordan doing the shrug to Magic Johnson, like you see Cliff Robinson like in the picture, in the frame. So it's like, I wonder what his thoughts were on all this kind of stuff. He was big homie to so many people. He's got to be a charismatic figure, huh?
Like, why'd you even get this man started?
Yeah. And like, given how he's such a, he's taught us as such a mentoring type, like he's got to be like this gregarious personality. We just gotta, I gotta check for some of this stuff. That's what I'll be doing is like looking through some of these interviews with some people, especially John Thompson. I saw some of the Iverson Hall of Fame speech with talking about Thompson. And it was just like, yeah, like that dude saved him, in a time where it was so hard for Iverson after that bowling alley fight, where like now I don't think that discourages teams in that kind of way, obviously, but he took at that time it was a real bold move to go to bat for Iverson, and he's one of those beloved figures in NBA history. Like, we don't have that without John Thompson. So, and also some great teams. Like, I mean, some of those mid '80s Georgetown teams, some of the greatest teams of all time. Based around Ewing. So, was it three straight championship games? Yeah. So.
Yeah, and they won one.
Yeah, so I guess we got
always the bad guy.
Yeah,
quote unquote.
I wonder why. So I guess it's time to move on. Talk about more depressing things. Last week I was reporting this show. Video surfaced of Jacob Blake being nearly executed by a police officer. Shot at point blank range 7 times. Policeman was so unthreatened that you can see the police officer grab him by the back, grab him, touch him on the back before shooting him 7 times in the back. I saw it and I thought for sure this dude was dead. Fortunately, he's still alive. He's paralyzed from the waist down. I don't know anything about his prognosis as far as like, could he, eventually be able to walk again, but at this juncture, he's lucky enough to be alive given the horrible situation that happened to him. What were your thoughts on seeing that video?
Man. Confusion. I'm trying to process the whole thing, like, because it's not coming from a body camera, it's coming from like an external camera, kind of ducked off in the distance. You see him walking into his car, everyone's screaming, and it seems like everyone around the situation saw what was about to happen before it happened.
Yep.
And it was like the woman was screaming like, no, because the guns were drawn, and he took, he's walking back in the car, and then he hits him 7 times in the back. You weren't like, people were saying he was like trying to retrieve a knife or something. I was like, what is a knife gonna do against a gun? And also, what is this knife going to do against this body armor that you're wearing? What, like, if you needed to detain the man, why couldn't you, like, use your, like, hands? Like, you could have, like, restrained him. You could have done, a million other things and shoot him and let 7 off in his back. And then paralyze the man. I hope he sues. I hope he gets every dollar. I hope he drains the department of their funds, literally defunds the police. And it was just like shock, like, yo, we did all this marching and protesting and fucking shit up and everything like that, and it's just like they insist on killing us. Why? And I just saw it and I was just like, I was heartbroken again, and then just like, put that in your mental Rolodex. One more thing you don't want to do is turn your back to the police, because then they may feel threatened again.
Yeah. You mentioned the either a woman or multiple women were yelling like, no, 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 please don't do this. It's like, it's almost like someone is, it's almost like a weird foreshadowing. Like you see the name, you click on the name, you see someone happening, you click on the video, and this person is basically like narrating like this person, what I thought at the time was their demise. Like, and I'm watching it, and I'm at a point now with these videos where I'm never numb to them initially. I'm numb to them after I'm able to get away from the video. But my initial reaction was just like, not anger, not sadness. I don't even know if the right word is upset, but it was just like, I guess the word's incredulous. Like, I can't believe he's getting in a car. He's getting in the car. You put your hands on his back as he opened the door. You touched him. You were comfortable enough to touch him. And then you moved your hand out of the way, and then you let off in him 7 times. And at the time, I thought he was dead. In my mind, I'm thinking like, I'm thinking of how this is going to play out, you know, whether he's fired immediately or not, and then charges come or they don't, but the defense is going to be, he felt threatened, and like, I'm sorry, but I just don't buy that a motherfucker that's in armor, as you mentioned, and with a gun, a nightstick, a flashlight, handcuffs, like basically like Cameron on Down and Out, like he got old Tim's padded boots, hand grenades, goggles, and a parachute. He has all that shit on him. And he kept coming up to touch him with his bare fucking hand, and then decided, nah, that's not enough, and then moved his hand away, and then shot the dude the fuck up. And you know, you later find out that like his kids, 3 of his kids were in the back seat. It's like, so you just let off shots into this dude, and with kids in the back seat watching effectively, you know, watching their father die in front of them. Like the kind of trauma right. That is. Forget the what happened to the physical body for a second. Like, imagine being a kid watching in your mind, like the strongest person you know, right? Just basically just get holes put into them, and then like left their body is there, just like watching their soul leave out their body, or watching their body just slump down. Like, that is just like so disgusting, and like should never happen to anybody under any circumstance. And I watched the video, and I'm just like, wow. And then from there I moved to, you know, what I just described to y'all, just like, I just can't, you start just, what excuse will they come up with next is my next thought. Like, what excuse are you come up with to defend? And then you see this stuff, it's like, it's the same shit. Well, if he had just ... Bro, there is literally no recourse that a black person can take to keep themselves from getting shot 100 out of 100 times, or 1,000 out of 1,000 times. Name one. Hands in your head,
if they want to
shot.
Shoot your ass, they will.
Hands in your head, shot. On your knees, shot. Laying on the ground, shot. There's cases for all of those situations where somebody has laid down. The only way to not get killed is to not, while being black by a police officer 100% of the time, is to not exist. It's not, that's
like, avoid the police.
I mean, all of us do that. Most of us all do that. Who wants to hang around cops?
No one. Like,
and that's not even a black person thing. That's everybody. No one wants to hang around cops.
Like, what good can come out of that?
Because everybody knows that, like, there's potential for some shit like this to happen. But especially for black people. So
it's I'm happy the man didn't lose his life. I'm happy he's able to, continue living. However, like, it's fucked up. Like, he's paralyzed. He's never going to walk again. Like, I don't know, man. Like, and that it doesn't necessarily make me feel better that he's only paralyzed. Like,
it's still a tragedy.
Yeah.
You have a citizen getting shot by an authority of the state 7 times for what amounted to something that should never end with someone being shot 7 times. I don't give a fuck if there was a gun or not a gun, but if there was a knife in there. We just went over this. How much shit do you need to where you feel comfortable enough not to use the option that will most efficiently kill somebody?
Like, I guess they only feel comfortable when they got their SWAT uniforms on with the helmets and the face masks and the steel toe boots and the fucking shield and the fucking everything. Like, apparently they have to dress like the fucking Terminator or some shit to feel like, they have a pair of nuts.
Just ridiculous.
I hate it. I hate them.
So, in lieu of that, we can move on from there unless you have anything else you want to say about Jacob Blake situation.
I hope Jacob Blake is able to recover from this. I hope a miracle happens and he can walk again.
Yeah, I hope he's able to find some kind of return to normalcy after this happened, because, like, this is undoubtedly changed his life for absolutely the worst. And his life may or probably has been ruined. Thanks to, to some shit he probably funded with his own taxpayer money, right? So anyway, in the aftermath of this, the NBA stopped the playoffs for like 3 days. Going through, reading through some of the stuff, listening to the reports, it seems like the Milwaukee Bucks up 3-1 in their series against the Orlando Magic. Some of them felt, still fucked up about this whole situation, like a lot of us. And they felt like the need to do something. And they felt like maybe, we shouldn't play basketball. We're up 3-1 in the series. We got this series comfortably under control. Maybe we should let this one go. Let the world think about what the fuck happened. And we'll get back to it later on. And then from there, things snowballed because the NBA Players Union or Players Association wants to be a united front. So once one team wants to forfeit, the team that is they're playing against doesn't want to be the team that is willing to play and takes the forfeiture. Of course, they have pride. And then you have the other teams that were on the schedule, like the Rockets and Thunder, and then later the Lakers and the Blazers, and people want to hear from them. So then it turned to everybody is not playing. All 6 teams are not playing. And then people, there are obviously people in that bubble that never wanted you to go to that bubble. It's majority rules type of thing. It's a players league. It's a star driven league. So, the votes aren't even. And, there was a call to even start this bubble thing with LeBron and Westbrook and Harden and Chris Paul and Steph and, Kawhi and whatever. And, them wanting to get this thing going caused it to happen. So they had a bunch of meetings, and ultimately they decided to, they wanted to talk to some of the owners or all the owners and get some of their commitments to different things, more money from what they already had the owners agree to before going to the bubble to go towards social injustice. And then also now there are more NBA stadiums that are going to do polling for the election, which is definitely helps because a lot of these arenas are in black communities, and a lot of these black communities polling stations are being fucked with, and they're creating like polling deserts. So there's only so many places people can go, and with the effects of COVID, people do not want to potentially risk their lives to fucking vote. Because the mail's being getting fucked with. Everyone knows the mail's being fucked with. So it was so weird, just looking back at it in real time is like, oh, I think this shit's done. What were your thoughts on it? Do you think this shit was done at the time?
I was like, wow. I've never seen an NBA team like flat out refuse to play, like even through Donald Sterling, which you would have thought maybe something would have happened then, right? I was like, all right, if you don't want to play, all right, cool, I'm with you. I'm a radical ass nigga myself, so I was like, all right.
Hold on. We'll let you go. I expect that in one of the threads that I'm also in with you for that to be your nickname in one of these threads. I fully expect an OL apostrophe radical hyphen ass nigga to be one of those in one of them. I have an idea which one it's going to be in, but in one of them 20 that it better be it in one of those.
So I was like, me, I'm quick to like, not watch some shit or sit out on something and be like, I feel like it's going to make a statement. I ain't watched the NFL in
years.
This is 4 years coming up. Yeah. So, all right, cool. And then I heard like 24 hours later, it was like, all right, cool. They decided to resume. And I'm like, well, what happened? Like,
right.
What are we doing here? And I started, thinking about it. It was like, I'm sure there's a lot of money on the table from this year, next year. And of course, like you always if you have to weigh the money factor in to this, you have to do that. It's irresponsible otherwise to do that. Yes, if you want to make a statement, fuck this, we ain't playing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, man. It's a really it's a really difficult situation because then you have like stuff like Kenny Smith was walking off the air,
right?
Trying to show solidarity with the players. That puts Shaq and Charles in a tough position. And there's one thing that I'm not a fan of is like if we can keep if we can keep this in the house and we ain't got to show everybody, let's do that first before everyone else gets to make these decisions and these judgments upon us as black people. But I figured it was like it was a lot of confusion because I was like, well, what happened? And I never really got an answer on what happened rather than thinking like, okay, I guess, the players have to get back to it. It's like, we didn't come all the way to this bubble, to pack it up essentially. And it's like, well, what can we do? So they needed to find something to do. Like, even though the action was not playing, like they're always going to be asked, well, what do you plan on doing next? Like, no, we're not worried about what's next. We're worried about what the hell we did, because you know why? Because everyone else is worried about why we're not playing. Everyone else is on Twitter saying, oh, why is there no game tonight? Like, this was what got their attention. Like, whatever comes next, it's not on us to fucking fix the problem.
Yeah. That's one of the things, like, one of my favorite tweets about this whole situation is like, the NBA is doing more to try to combat and try to fix these structural inequitudes. They're doing more than the fucking government actually is to do it. It's like,
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing that always with me, you know, when it was getting back to the bubble and there was stuff about whether or not Kyrie Irving was a disruptor or not that Woj wrote, which is bullshit, but whatever. Like the word is not disruptor. There's something that you can use besides disruptor, but that's not a fair word. But my thought always was like, and this is the thing when it comes to anybody that takes a stand against injustice, is like, it is not, this individual person is not Martin Luther King or Malcolm X or Angela Davis or whoever, Fred Hampton, John Lewis. It is nobody's responsibility that is underneath this fucking boot to get the boot off our necks. It's on the people foot is inside the fucking boot. So we have the NBA that's 80 something percent black, and these are some of the most powerful black men in this country, black people in this country, and they are basically like putting their careers on the line and their career earnings and money in jeopardy in a capitalistic society that nets them said power to try to make life just even for people that look like them.
Yeah.
Right. To make their lives look just even for the other, 40 some odd people that look like them. It's like, I commend them for them, but I'm also heartbroken for them because like, it is, this ain't fair to them. I don't know other way I can articulate this, but like, this ain't some shit that they got us into. This is some shit they were born into just like everybody else. And it is nobody's responsibility, on our side that looks like us to fix these problems because we didn't create them and we don't, profit off them and we don't, shepherd them into the future either. All this shit is dropped on us and we have to find a way. It's always us that has to try to come up with solutions to this problem, right? Like, I remember, Ta-Nehisi Coates, one of his criticisms for his book, criticism in quotation, between the world and me, was that you laid out, or even the case for reparations, that, when I write what I write, people will come to me and say, well, you wrote out, you explained or articulated these issues and these problems with reporting, with, through research and all that to detail these problems, but you didn't come up with a solution. And he's like, that's not my job.
Right.
It's not his job. It's not the NBA's job or the NBA player's job to fix this shit. Raise awareness? Sure. Fix it? Nobody's big enough to handle this task. Not even them. Right. I commend them.
Just going.
I commend them with all my heart for them, like we talked about, have that kind of power, have those kind of resources at disposal, and ultimately, it don't matter. They're still powerless. I commend them for trying, but, ultimately, it's just like, I feel bad for them. I feel bad for them. It's like, because what the situation is. These people look like you feel that guilt of, I'm out here, I'm trying to be my brother's keeper. I'm gonna try anything I can. It's happened to me throughout my whole life. It's happened to me now. I'm away from my family. I'm in this fucking bubble. My mental health's a fucking mess. And I just gotta do something. You just get desperate. You feel like you gotta do something. And you just, I just feel, it's a really sad moment of just like, what can they do? They do only what the answer is, like, whatever they can. That's what they was trying to come up with. Whatever they can get out of this situation, right. They're gonna try to get out of the situation because they're at a breaking point, obviously. A lot of them are. A lot of them never even wanted to come to this fucking bubble. A lot of them, may have been more optimistic than the actual situation is and thought that, like, raising awareness as much as we can and pounding alarm and talking about voting and all that kind of stuff and making these moves or whatever else is going to change things. And ultimately, I believe that this is a step in the right direction, obviously, but we talked about this off air over the week with my cousin Alex. Like, progress is slow and long, and it is a relay race of you handing the baton to the next generation. And I commend the NBA players for helping close this gap. But as far as winning this race, the finish line is so far away, they'll never see it. But I commend them for realizing that, like, we still gotta try to close the gap on this leg of the relay.
Yeah, it takes me back to the Kaepernick thing, and then him having to do all that stuff in addition, right, to just a simple protest and speaking eloquently about the situation. Like, it was almost like he was like bullied into like donating all this money that he had to do.
Yep.
$1 million, yeah. Doing the thing with the suits, like starting the camps for the kids. Like, this was all the stuff that he had to, like, this commendable stuff. Yeah. This heroic, like, stuff. But ultimately, like, all he can do is, like, the most effective thing he did, which was shine a light on it. It's not our job to fix it. And it's almost like the people that come up with a cure for something it's not like them, like to administer the cure too. It's like, no, we're doing the research to, like, develop this. Like we let the doctors, like, do that shit, like, to diagnose it and distribute it to people. It's like, no, that's not, I don't know, man. I think
it's a mind fuck. It's a total mind fuck.
Yeah.
It's a rhetorical trick, and, for better or worse, mostly for worse, the people that point out the right things get suckered into having to, well, what is your solution for it? It's like, that's above my pay grade, ma'am. Like,
yeah, like,
but how about this? How about am I right or wrong? Am I right or wrong? Or you just didn't like it? Oh, gotcha.
Right. Yeah, like, whenever, like, that's like, I always talk about language and knowing what type of language to look out for to be able to, like, read the situations. And what I'm developing, and feeling like what's next is code for, like, it's more code. Well, what are we going to do next? We're past kneeling, like, all that stuff. Like, it's like, no, man, like, the action was like I fall back on, like, the action is the protest. Like, that is the action. Like, y'all, all right, now, like, we need to be reacted to now. So if you want to leave it there, we can talk about this Nasir.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, we'll let's start the show, and then 15 minutes in, let's start the show, and then we'll
15
get to
minutes in. Unbelievable, man.
Well, I mean, that's what happens with these bullshit ass weeks that happen in 2020, right?
2020. Good God.
Yeah. Go to hell again. Actually, yes. When I tell you to go to hell this time, listen. Go to hell.
Don't take nobody with you.
Yeah. Like, bro, I saw a picture of Chadwick Boseman and Kobe, and I was like, nope, turn it off Twitter. Not doing it. Not doing it. Like, I'm just not, no. Like, I'm not about to, like, I'm just going to take the Kobe route. I'm going to stay the fuck away from my phone. Like, I know it's going to be bad. Stay away from my phone. I'm not even going to read it. I'll handle it when I handle my grief whenever, it finally hits me, but I'm not doing it tonight. I'm not going to Hannah Kimura myself and watch and be on and, look at my phone and read comments and well wishes and nice things for, and feel just terrible for a whole night because I can't sleep. So I'm not going to do it. So same thing with Posen. I was like, nope. Not doing it. You pulled out Kobe next to him, you bastards. I'm not doing it. So, but yeah, just RIP to everybody that's dead. Jesus Christ, 2020, you fucking suck.
Are you tired of the same old pro wrestling? Then check out the amazing action on Powerslam.tv, the biggest indie pro wrestling channel in the world. Get over 4,000 hours of the best pro wrestling events from over 110 of the biggest names in the industry from over 15 countries around the globe. Get your free trial today at powerslam.tv.
This is Jordan Grace, and you're listening to the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
BWB, this is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Latta, James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular, dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rude. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit it, talk, bob your head side to side. It's One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
You got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
This is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans, and that's all that counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Bang.
Okay, now I guess it's the start of the show. Music Week. I checked out the Nasir album. Brother Jones is a person that I have an interesting relationship with as a fan. He is one of the greatest rappers I've ever heard in my life, but I don't really, like, I'm not a hardcore fan of his. Like, I'm a casual fan of Nas, which is like, Nas has no such thing as casual fans, but I'm listening to it. Like, in 2005, I heard Illmatic the first time. I bought the CD out of the mall and then bumped it in my car. This 2005. So, like, I'd always liked Nas singles, but it's like, how come I never hear anybody like play Nas or whatever? Yeah, obviously being down here in Florida. Picked it up, thought Illmatic was dope. Obviously, you hear Made Me Look or Uchi Wally or, The World Is Mine or Hate Me Now or One Mic. You're like, yeah, nigga's incredible rapper. Duh. But, it was a person that's like, I always respected the skills, but never like was super interested in him. And then, time goes by, like Street Disciple and Godson.
Which is funny because people always act how interesting Nas is. Go ahead.
Yeah, so time goes by and it's 2009, 2010. He does the album that's Untitled because he wanted to call a nigga and the label's X like, no, we are not putting a nigger in the stores. We're not doing that, Nasir. That issued me because of the story. At that point in time, he's on Def Jam, which is like, how, like, I wonder how on the up and up, like, this album's gonna be with, like, Jay-Z at the helm, possibly trying to sabotage this man at every chance. Then you're like, oh, Nas is doing tracks with Polo the Don and DJ Toop. Okay. I'm interested. I need to hear this. I need to hear what this album sounds like. And, between like the Mark Ronson stuff and, the Salaam Remy stuff, it was another album that I thought was very well done. I'd even go as far as saying it was a great album. And then, every project since then has never really interested me. Like, Summer on Smash, I heard the songs, like, this is a dope ass record, obviously. Like, Nas is a great rapper. But this one, I hear he's doing a record with Hit Boy, like almost everything's done with Hit Boy, and I'm like, that interests me. Like, I'm interested to see, like, is this going to be great or is it going to be a mess? The last album I wanted no parts of because that was that was like around the time Kanye dropped. All those released at the same time, and he was fresh off of basically ending my relationship with him ever again as a fan of his music. So, I gotta say, her album and like this, between the stuff we've heard from Hit Boy over the past decade with him now, since like 2011 to now, and this is like, it was a perfect marriage, and I don't know if they could have done a better album together with 12 tracks of Nasir and Hit Boy. what were your thoughts on this album so far? Like, I mean, in your relationship, actually, let's talk about your relationship with Nas. You are a big Nas fan yourself.
Yeah. It's funny because like, I wouldn't call myself a super Nas fan either, but I'm right. Like, I've been a lifetime fan of Nas. Like, my mom liked Nas. Like, it was like, all right, I always felt like there was something I could learn as a rapper from Nas, like how to come on a track, how to like command the track, how to tell a story on a song, how to do it. And, you know, I never really, you know, got on with the beat selection, but I always thought Nas was unfairly judged for his beat selection as well. Because I always thought he had plenty of dope beats.
Yeah, I think the thing with Nas, well, two things, right? I'm glad you said that you learned a lot from Nas. ... as a rapper. I'm glad you pointed out as a rapper and lyricist and storyteller and, you know, and person with slick wordplay. I'm glad that you pointed that you put that part in, because you said you learned a lot from Nas. I'd be like, oh God. Anyway, yeah, as far as the beat thing with Nas has has rapped over some of the greatest beats that have ever existed in rap music, but he also has rapped over beats that are like, some have been flat out boring, some have been mid, some have been like, depends on what room you're in, they work, right? Like, and I think a lot of the Nas, people talk about the Nas stuff is like he never really made stuff that made you want to be bumping in your car driving with your friends. Or played it at a cookout, or played in a club. And it's like, you know, that's also at a time where like we were less diverse as far as the number of rap acts we were getting on major labels too. So like, I feel like, you know, Nas had to get some of those critiques that like the Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole types do not get anymore, because like Nas paved the way for like, it's okay just to be a great rapper and you know, and talk about life or tell stories, and then like not have to necessarily worry about like, you know, the emotions, like the quote unquote fun emotions. Like, I would never say that Nas is not joyous, because he absolutely is. Like, and we'll get to that in a second, but like, there's not that much on the catalog that I would describe as flat out fun. There's some there, but they're not like, and the same, and this, you can look, and you know who else you can throw that same critique at too?
Ooh.
Slim Shady, Marshall Mathers, Eminem. There's not a lot of fun in that. There's even less fun in that discography. In hell, there's a hell of a lot less joy in that discography than a Nas discography too.
When I was talking about learning from Nas, it definitely was not the third verse of "I Can." So,
yeah, we were all kings and queens. It's like, that is not possible. That is. We actually have been on Greatest Rap Lies thing too that we did earlier.
The entire third verse. I have it pulled up right here.
Oh God, go ahead.
Okay, so the third verse of "I Can" is, before we came to this country, we were kings and queens, never porch monkeys. There were empires in Africa called Kush, Timbuktu, where every race came to get books, to learn from black teachers who taught Greeks and Romans, Asians, Arabs, and gave them gold. When gold was converted to money, it all changed. Money then became empowerment for Europeans. The Persian military invaded. They heard about the gold, the teachings, and everything sacred. Africa was almost robbed naked. Slavery was money, so they began making slave ships. Egypt was the place that Alexander the Great went. He was so shocked at the mountains with black faces. Shot up their nose to oppose basically. Still goes on today, you see. If the truth is told, the youth can grow. They'll learn to survive until they gain control. Nobody says you have to be gangsters, hoes. Read more, learn more, change the globe. Ghetto children, do your thing. Hold your head up, little man, you're a king. Young princess, when you get your wedding ring, your man saying, she's my queen.
Oh, my ear. Okay, so a lot of that stuff that he spit in there is actually true, but like once you start off, but some of it's not. But, and especially when your first line is, we were all kings and queens. How? It's like, you
talking somebody about, like, had to be regular, bro.
Yeah, right. Like we talk about with wrestling, right? If you have 12 giants, you have 7 fake people, you have no giants. Everybody's a giant.
Right. Like, somebody got to be regular.
Right. Who's Triple H here? Who is the king of kings? Then, not Nasir. But Yeah, anyway.
But overall, I like Nas a great deal. But Nas jokes are always funny.
Yes, they are.
And I'm a big Jay-Z and Rockefeller guy, but, you know, so I was, you know, I kind of came in on Nas like later and then had to, you know, do a lot of different, you know, research. But, I listened to the stuff I heard on this. It sounded like he was reinvigorated. When I first heard it, I heard Ultra Black by itself and I was like, I don't really like this. And then it was just like, I was like, this is what he got from Hit Boy? I was like, all right. Okay. And then like when you hear it like with the rest of the music, it all makes sense. Like, I'm like, oh, so like they're doing, you know, this is what they're going for. And I was able to appreciate it because like, if it's one thing I'm doing is I'm trying to allow older rappers to still tell me their stories. Like a couple years ago, I checked out a Lox album. Like I'll listen to a new Nas album. There was someone recently that had put an album out and I listened to it. I think it was Ghostface. He put an album out and it was just like, well, you know, if we're going to keep killing, quote unquote, killing the legends off and all this other stuff, it's like, well, why? Why do we have to kill them off? Like, why don't I see what they actually have to say? They may, you know, have something. So I took that same, you know, approach, like, yeah, let me check out the Nas. And I liked a lot of what I heard. They actually, the Lox just dropped a new album this weekend that I need to get to.
Okay. Yeah, so I had not heard Ultra Black. But when it comes in, I think it's like track 3 or 4, like within it, you're right. It absolutely makes sense. And you know, I was talking about Joy earlier, like this is the joyous Nas, right? And, I felt like it was just, he was in such a good vibe. And then, while that song's going on, like it's a song that I imagine motherfuckers in Queens are like playing at a wedding reception, in the years to come, honestly, to be quite honest with you. And I think the first half of this album is just like, just great. Just great. And, I think that it's not as strong when the features come rolling in the second half, except for like, the Firm, track, which is like crazy. It's like, wow, they got Dre, AZ, and Foxy and Cormega back, huh? And like,
what was they doing?
Right. And the thing for me was like, yeah.
Was free?
Right, yeah. What were they doing? Nothing. It's like, you know, you've heard some of these stories about like Foxy and her hearing. Like, I didn't know she was still capable of doing it. So I was super happy to hear her. Voice still sounds the same. So that was a great moment for me, on listening to the album. It gets weird when we get, I think, to the second to last track when he, you know, I don't know how familiar you are with the Khalees stuff, from the last couple years, but like the industry's failed Khalees over the years, obviously throughout her whole career, and most notably is, you know, Khalees telling us that, and I but I was reminded at the end of this, you know, Khalees has told us that like they had a physical relationship, and I don't know if she went into details on what happened or whatever else, but that should be enough, right? And Renaz said at the end, he's like, I've never put my hand on a woman, and on an ad-lib, he was like, never. And I was like, I don't believe that. And now, like, I don't know how I forgot about this while going through the album, but I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I mean, I'm like, you know, then you have to make a decision like everybody else, whether it's James Brown or Chris Brown, about that. Like, is that person music dope enough to you to continue rock with them or whatever else? The answer for me on James Brown and Chris Brown is yes. On Nas, not so certain. I hadn't listened to a Nas project since that stuff came out the last couple of years. I don't really check for Nas, as I mentioned earlier in the beginning of the show. But, what I will say is that, like, the album is a very good album. You know, coming to this conclusion after talking about his album for like 10 minutes, his career, after getting to this, like, that's weird. But, I felt like it was appropriate to talk about because, like, I listened to the album twice, gave it 2 runs. I was like, okay, like this is a template for a legacy act to continue this on. Now I want to see how this would work for someone that is, you know, done major labels, now independent, someone like a, you know, like a T.I., like, you know, even someone that was just a hit maker and wasn't even that much rapper, like a Fat Joe. Like, we have to, I feel like there is a avenue for, you know, as you grow older and you are out of the limelight and, like, you know, the babies of the world are running this shit, and whoever else 5-10 years from now, like, there has to be, you know, for the legacy senior acts or whatever else, people that already have their catalog filled out when they go on tour already. They, you know, they don't need a new album to go tour off of. They need like a single to go tour off of. Like, I want to see, you know, what these albums or these like relationships can breed with like younger producers and that in the future. You know, Jay-Z's been doing it for a while. Nas obviously has. Snoop's been around forever. You know, Cube when he wants to. Like, I want to see LL obviously. Like, I want to see like the older generation, you know, still be able to do this if they want to. And especially now that, you know, we're in the streaming era where it's like, you have a name, you have something that the youngins don't. Like, you've been a star in this game. Like, right. So, you know, now that you're streaming, you don't need to worry about promotion and all that shit. Like, you're Nas, you're Jay-Z, you're whoever else, put this shit forward and see what you can do. And I hope that like more of these legacy acts, can keep pushing forward and still make good music, because like, we talk about this all the time with, like, most of these older rappers that were dope as fuck 15, 10, 25 years ago are still dope now. It's just
people,
you know,
stop listening to them. So, like,
right.
I would encourage y'all that are hearing this, like, if there's, like, you know, someone that you enjoyed back, you know, in the day and they're still putting, you know, stuff out, or if you discover they put something out, just you know, what's it going to kill you to check it out?
Right.
So, like,
it's not going to tarnish your legacy. Like, you're wrestling fans. A lot of y'all are wrestling fans, like, y'all watch Undertaker and Triple H and whoever the fuck else come out here for WrestleMania and embarrass themselves or whatever else. You don't think of them any differently. Like, and look, I can tell you this right now. T.I. raps a lot better than the fucking Triple H wrestles. So, or Kim or Foxy or Missy. I would love to see a Missy in Timberland like get together for one last album. I would love to see that. And you know, she's been doing these singles, whatever else, over the last couple of years, like especially since like she got the VMA thing. But I would love nothing more for like Missy to like have a dominant club banger again. I would love to see that again. I would love to. Like, I would love to see her. I want to see her work with, like, you know, City Girls, Cardi, Nicki, Megan. I would love to see her, you know, with them.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. Let's see what else is. I guess it's time to talk about wrestling, right?
Wrestling.
Yeah. Oh, I have one more music. I have one more music. One more music observation.
What's up?
I didn't mention this on air because I know it's gonna make you laugh because you know you used to talk about this off air. You feel like, really? Yeah. So do you know who dropped Friday?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So Katy Perry, her last album dropped. I have not checked for Katy Perry since Prism.
Katy Perry. I thought you were going to talk about the Jay-Z counter programming to the Nas with that horrible song with Pharrell.
No, I'm not talking about Entrepreneur. No, thank you. Make a black Twitter yourself. With what funds, Jigga Man? What Corey? Sean Corey Carter. What funds do I have to make my own? He always does this. Yeah. I've been talking about him ever since.
I just said, give your older rappers a chance, right? I hated this song with all my soul. I've never heard it.
I only saw the lyrics, and I was like,
oh my God. The hook for that Pharrell is just like black man over and over and over again, bro. It's one of the worst Pharrell and Jay-Z songs I've ever heard.
And it's just a single. It's not like an EP or nothing like that, or
just a single. So he dropping that counter program to the Nas.
Oh man! All right, but yeah. Real quick notes on the Katy Perry. I think her second album, Teenage Dream, is like one of those albums that's like, it comes once in a lifetime for a pop star, and like, she ain't got to do shit else, right? Because it's like 5 or 6 #1 records on that fucking album. But, her life has clearly changed, and she's, the gimmick she was going up with, like, that was going to be in trouble with age. Like, she was talking about, like, this fresh out of high school type of love, and now she's in her mid-30s. Like, of course, she's going to have to come up with something else. And she tried to hop onto the EDM wave in, like, the late 2000s, or the late 2010s. It was like, nah, you're like 6 years too late. But what I will say on this album is that I think she's figured out what she should have always been. Like, we always talk about, like, artists or basketball players, like, know what you are and then, like, be okay with that. And her thing was, if you put her on some four on the floor pop rock or disco or funk, she can do whatever she wants. All her hit records are of that ilk, just about, right? And in the third quarter of this album, from like track 6 to 9, you got that, and you're just like, well, I know what her next singles are going to be on this album. So like, that was fun. So what the rest of it is like, that's the stuff that like made me tune you out before. But yeah, I would say, like, she's going to have some records that ring off on streaming over the next few months, so it'll be that. So, but good for her, because I thought she was done. Like, I didn't want to hear that last album she had when she was like, yeah, Katy Perry and the Migos, Katy Perry and Nicki Minaj. It's like, look, man, I understand you did Dark Horse and that song blew the fuck up, but that was like a once in a lifetime thing. Like, you can't keep going to that well. People have peeped the game. We know what you're doing. Yeah. And it's not appreciated.
I did not like it at all.
Right.
I did not like it.
Right. It's like, look, man, you ain't got to do that. Just like, listen to that Dua Lipa album that came out earlier this year. It is like, do 2 of those tracks. Like, that's what you should be doing anyway. Like, you have some of that in your discography anyway that people love. And then she picked it up. So, for a pop record, that third quarter was a fun, little run. But yeah, we can move on to actual wrestling now.
Yeah, man.
Payback.
Get to it.
Payback.
Payback. Dun, dun, dun. That ain't right.
Who would have thought that WWE, who has done all of 2 good pay-per-views in 2020, would struggle with doing back-to-back pay-per-views 1 week apart? Who could have foreseen such a thing? How many is there? Okay, aside from Rey Mysterio or Los Mysterios versus Seth and Murphy, is there any other match you thought was good?
Sheamus and Big E, I kind of like got into for a little bit just because they were hitting each other hard, but no, like, this was like just the regularist of regular wrestling, and regular too bad, like mid-level too bad. That's like where I kind of stood on most of the show.
Yeah, I'm here with you. I thought it was thoroughly mediocre show aside from like one match. But let's go through it. Show opens with Bobby Lashley versus Apollo Crews for the U.S. title. One thing I'll give Bobby Lashley, I don't know if he is good, but he always tries. Would you disagree that he's not always trying and busting? I feel like he's always trying hard. He's not good anymore, at least.
Yeah. I have an irrational like for Bobby Lashley. I'm guilty. I am a Bobby Lashley fan.
I can see it. He tries hard. He looks good, physique wise. It's not like he's not a stiff or anything. He's athletic. It's just like he's meant for a different era. I believe he's meant for a different era.
Yeah, him getting a win over Apollo is kind of funny.
Yeah, and I think his charisma holds him back too. I think that's another big part of it.
Yeah, so is the Apollo Crews push? Is this the end of the road that everybody was, so happy that he won the checks notes U.S. title?
You have to fill me in on this. I had no idea if you were excited about Apollo Crews in year like 5 before.
This is like a big push apparently. So, all right.
I don't see that. I just saw it. I'm still trying to figure out when the shoe is going to drop on this. Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, Hurt Business thing, and like Cedric and Apollo and Ricochet. Like, they have been sowing the seeds that one of those three is going to turn on the other two and join the bad black men. So I was just wondering, like, when is the shoe going to drop? And like, well, Lashley's the U.S. champion. Who cares now? Do you care?
Well, I mean,
for a wrestling promotion that you watch once a month, how do you care? I guess is a way to put it.
No. Definitely not. Like, they've murdered Ricochet. I don't know what the last time I've seen Cedric Alexander was. I don't even know how he's cutting his hair at the moment. So, like, no idea. Like, it's not like he makes the pay-per-view. So,
yeah, this is main event material for the baby faces. I mean, after the match, he jumped Lashley, which is like, okay, so you lost clean. You lost fair and square. And then
I forgot about that.
The match. Which means it continues.
He looked like such a geek.
Yeah, it's bad babyface. It's bad babyface. Like we talked about this back when during the ambulance match between Roman Reigns and Strowman, where Roman at the end of it like loses fair and square, and then attacks Strowman and then packs him to the back of the car, and then runs the back of the ambulance into the semi trailer. It's like, you lost fair and square, bro. What's the problem here? So it's like, I think I feel like the times have passed for like maybe 20 years ago that works, because like, oh, well, we gave the babyface something, but for me, just like, nah, you lost, and then like you went out like a sucker because you lost. But yeah, after that we get Big E versus Sheamus.
And he tapped out clean.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, he tapped out.
Yes.
And then he wants to attack. Like, that makes you even look like more of a sucker. I totally forgot. I thought he got pinned. Yeah, because he ended up tapping out to the, he ended up tapping out to the full Nelson.
Full Lashley.
The full Nelson. Yeah. After this, you get Big E versus Sheamus, which is like, I had no idea this was even a program. It feels like something they just pulled out of their ass in like the last 2 weeks. Yeah. They had a match that was laid out pretty well, except that like Sheamus just wrestles too slow for the time now. Like, he was a slower wrestler even a decade, beginning of this last decade. Now it's even faster, so it feels like he's going even slower. But I thought
amazing how that works.
Yeah, I thought Big E had very good fire, something we always knew he had, obviously, in charisma. I still enjoy every single time Big E, like in like the last year, comes out, he takes off his jacket and he hurls that bitch right into Corey Graves' face. But yeah, like, I'm still concerned about him doing that spear, through the ropes onto the apron. Like, he's done it 100 times. Every time it looks terrifying. I just figure one time he's gonna get caught and he's not gonna be able to get up. But yeah, it was, it was a physical match. It's just, the pace is just too slow for my liking.
Yeah. Some of the stuff they're doing, storyline wise with the Big E singles push is very heavy handed. And
about how he's being held
very telegraph. Yes, very telegraph. Like, they're trying to generate some type of, like, it's already there. Like, people already want to get behind this man, but like, it seems like they're trying to remanufacture like the Kofi Kingston storyline. I feel like I see it like coming from a mile away, especially when he's like yelling at Corey Graves at the top of his lungs after the match and pounding on his chest, and it's just like, they like, this is a directive. Like, that's what this seems like. It doesn't feel like there's this special moment there, and I know there's hard to be special moments in the fucking Thunderdome. I get it, but I clearly see the shit coming from a mile away.
Okay, so
and I don't appreciate them trying to I don't appreciate them trying to lay a trap for some organic shit. It's like, no, man. Like we know what you're trying to do.
Yeah, they are very heavy-handed, but I guess I'm kind of surprised that they're even going with Big E after this is what, year 7 for him? Right? Year 7, year 8? Yeah. Like, the fact that they're actually, like, he had, you know, like, we haven't seen, like, a singles match from him on pay-per-view since, like, 2014, when he was out having, you know, some house battles with Rusev. So, for me, like, given the state that this company is creatively, in the past, you know, in the 6 years since then, from that moment, is like the fact that he was even on pay-per-view and they didn't just, you know, give up or have Sheamus fucking beat him to start the feud, and then get his ass whooped after the match. Like, I feel like that is like, wow, or not wow, but more like, okay, like, they haven't fucked this up yet, so like they're off to a decent start at least. You know, they gave him Sheamus. Sheamus doesn't mean anything anymore. But, you know, he's a name. I wonder what do you think the end game, what do you think their end game is for Big E right now?
Let's see. Intercontinental Champion is Jeff Hardy.
Yep.
The other Intercontinental Champion is Sami Zayn.
Wait, what?
Yeah, Sami Zayn returned apparently, and he returned with his belt.
Are they really 94ing this?
Probably. Roman's the champion now, spoiler alert. And he's a big bad heel or a chicken shit heel, one of the two. And I feel like they're trying to discover a babyface to fight Roman Reigns. So, I mean, Big E's a good choice as any. Like,
so, Royal Rumble or WrestleMania, are you thinking?
Look, if it's me, I have Big E. Look, it's very simple what you do with Big E. You have him start winning matches, right?
Right.
And then you have him at the Survivor Series, and he wins the Survivor Series match. And then you know what you do after that?
He wins the Rumble or some shit like that.
He wins the Royal Rumble, James. And then, you know what? Somebody that gave him trouble or something, they challenge him for that Royal Rumble title shot at the pay-per-view in between. And you know what happens? He beats that person too. Yes, with his move 1, 2, 3. And you know what else happens? Then the champion finally shows up, and then they do a storyline, and then Big E and Roman Reigns fight each other for the world title, and then Big E wins. That's what I would do. Mm-hmm. But this isn't my company, so yeah.
Okay, so I saw people talk about and rumor and speculate about, like, how cool would it be if that, you know, after Survivor Series, how cool would it be if, like, that was actually the direction, like, to get to Big E versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. I thought to myself, as thinking, like, are you unaware of where they think Big E is on the pecking order for them? Like, are you new here? But as far as, you know, the promo skills, the fire, the charisma, the look, yeah, he could do that. But, you know, a lot of guys can do that. It's about it's about whether or not, like, you know, if in year 7 or 8 is Vince gonna look around and be like, oh yeah, that dude's fucking jacked and you know, athletic as fuck and, like, is a good talker and has proved it over the last 5 years to tons of merch sales that he, you know, and he's not a cookie cutter guy. Like, and he's different. Like,
I think we've had the New Day conversation on here many
for like 6 years, 5 years now, or some shit.
If anyone else was selling merch at the level they were, they would have, like, shoved a rocket up their asses immediately. Like, they would kill for the Shield to sell merch like this.
Right. So I guess for me, I have to see more. I have to see what they do next month with Big E on pay-per-view before I'm like, be like, oh yeah, this is something they're actually going to do. Like, I see it, but I'm just like, I see it, but I'm not believing it because, this is obviously, hopeful, optimistic speculation on where they can go in the years because, or as a fresh matchup for Roman's possibly going this dynamic of being a heel, Paul Heyman guy, who would he want to wrestle, what will make sense, and what will be something they would want to do as a WWE guy. Big E's a WWE ass guy, sold tons of merch, all that, all the Make-A-Wish stuff, it's all there, but it's also like, look at the history of this company, and look at the history of like the last, 3 years of this company creatively. It's like, yeah, I'm sure they have an idea today on where they're going to head with this Roman shit or wherever his opponents are going to be if he's going to be a heel champion.
There's like
what are the odds that they're going to stick to that? Like, come 2 months from now, 3 months from now, that they're going to be the same opponents and track the same path to get to where they want to get to. That shit changes week to week, day to day. Even.
And also, like, he's going to have it's like going to be him and other baby faces in a race for that spot. And then not to mention if like Goldberg pops his ass out or Brock or somebody like that. So nothing's guaranteed.
Or, one of these situations. This ain't working. AJ, Daniel, go save it. That's what SmackDown is. The shit gets fucked up. Go send AJ or Daniel Bryan to go fix it. That's been the case ever since the brand split.
So they finally do Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns all these years later.
Yeah.
LOL.
Yeah.
The scenario is in place that I've always kind of forecasted, but Daniel Bryan just had another child, and I think he might be turning 40 soon. So, good times.
Yeah, so
they did have a moment we skipped over. So Keith Lee was backstage with JBL.
Oh shit, you want to talk about this nonsense? All right.
Yes, bro. Like, they had Keith Lee, like JBL walked up on this man talking about, I got some, hedge funds you can, put some money in. And before that, Keith Lee's like, you're JBL. Like the limo and the horns, like all this stuff, like acting like a fucking mark.
Like he's not older than us. Like he's not 34 or 35. Like that's some shit. That's some shit they would have had.
About 40.
Correct me. Tell me if I'm lying. Tell me that's not some shit they would have had JBL or Ricochet doing a segment with some legend a year ago or 18 months ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. I'm just a simple kid from Kentucky. You fucking.
Yeah, like, so I was like, so they got this man acting like a mark, and then like he told JBL that he ain't have like the resources, like he ain't had the funds. Something like, so he's a mark and he's broke. Great,
I like it.
I didn't have an issue with that line. I feel like the JBL response was not good enough. Like. The simple line to that when Keith Lee says, "Bro, a hedge fund is $1 million buy-in. I'm not a millionaire." All you have to do is have JBL come back and say something along the lines of,
"You will be
in due time." I'd bet on it. Something along those lines, right? He didn't. He says something that was supposed to be that, but it wasn't that. And I was like he was like, I think it was if you work hard and you keep your head down, I think you will. Yeah. I think that's what he said. It's like, no, that's not the way you said. You saying like cute is like, I bet you will one day, or something like that. Like, it is game recognizing game and recognizing the quote unquote future. This wasn't like, that. It was like, you gotta work hard to get where I'm at, young nigga. Like, that's not, no, bro. No.
Like what stopped them from having JBL go up to Keith Lee and be like, man, I've been watching you, and when you was in NXT, you won both of those titles. You are, a great superstar for this amount of time, and I've had my eye on you. What was stopping them from doing that? Like,
I don't know. You know who would have been good at this? Do you remember the pregame or the pre-match package at Portland this year between Dijak and Lee that they had Mark Henry do?
Yes.
When he was fucking ecstatic, he's like, look at these big mans out here flipping. So, like, all you have to do is get someone as excited about Dijak and Lee as Mark Henry was to relate like, yes, this is the future of big man wrestling. You gigantic 330, 340 pounds, 6'3", 6'2" dude that does Hurricane Ranas off the top rope and Canadian Destroyers off the middle rope and does moonsaults off the second rope and does flip dives over the top rope without touching the top rope. That's all they had to do. They couldn't even do that.
We're going to get to it. So up next, Matt Riddle and King Corbin. My God. Just a travesty all around, from the pre-match promo to the match to the layout to the chin locks to the long boring portions to the 10% that Matt Riddle got to essentially do his thing. It's funny because like I think he had a longer version of like the Riddle and Lee match, but this was just like, man, it just felt so bad. Like, this is supposed to be this top babyface, like, but y'all bringing up the fucking, like, you're alluding to his
infidelity
his rape allegation,
and then his infidelity is. We'll go deeper in a second, but like, yeah, like, why would you even bring that up? Like, are you trying to immediately make him into Jeff Hardy, where it's like, we love him in spite of his flaws? Well, his flaws are rape. Like, what the fuck? Okay,
all it does is make you ask questions like that you don't want the answers to.
Right. And like, one, it makes you say, well, let's say you're just not in the point of saying like, get him the fuck off TV. Why is the asshole even on TV? It gets you to the point of like, all right, well, why would Corbin be such a dick to say this? Oh, for heat. So like, I'm supposed to root for this rapist. I'm supposed to root for this like rapist now. That's what I'm supposed to do. Or are you just fighting words? And then if they're fighting words, and then the theoretical babyface triumphs at the end, why would you have him lay him out at the end? You, like, Corbin said fuck shit, he got dealt with, and then he comes back and lays out the dude, because after you know, the person that did the fuck shit got beat up. Like, that's great storytelling. Like, people can say mean things. Rich, do you know that when you raise a kid, you can tell them a story about, like, somebody says something mean about you, you stand up for yourself, and then you're able to move on. But instead of moving on, like, the person that says something to you actually, like, beats your ass. Like, great story. But yeah. Anyway, Corbin, match is just, it is the worst Matt Riddle match I've ever seen that went longer than 8 minutes, I believe. Like, even the Killian Dane match are better than this.
Oh yeah. It's amazing. You know, I was led to believe that, you know, giving Matt Riddle this big win over AJ Styles out the gate clean was supposed to be the star-making thing, and then it's amazing that I predicted eventually he'd be wrestling Baron Corbin and we'd be all like, what the fuck is happening? And it was his first ever pay-per-view match. Boy, they don't waste any time, do they?
Yeah. Any shouldn't be on TV, but whatever. That's another part. So, for those that don't know or haven't looked at it, Baron Corbin was on Twitter like before the show, and he tweeted, "Tonight I proved that Matt Riddle is a failure in a WWE ring. By the way, he's already proven to be a failure at home." My response to that, because I saw it and I was like, I can't believe you're alluding to this. My response was, Matt Riddle's infidelity is tied to rape. Get it, y'all? Isn't that funny? Shouldn't we all laugh at Baron Corbin's joke? Just like, what is wrong with y'all? Like, do people not like realize like when they tell jokes that there's something that you're pointing at that's supposed to be like the butt of the joke, and that like if that's the butt of your joke, then your joke sucks.
Yep.
Whatever. Let's see, what's the next match? Oh yeah, so you know, they beat him down, so they're gonna have another match, of course, which is like, after watching that match, why would you want to see another one? Next match after that, the Golden Role models Sasha and Bayley versus Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. This match, in my opinion, was good when Nia was not in the ring. Then Nia got into the ring, and she didn't even know where the fucking hard camera was. There were points where she was selling her knee They alluded to the fact that she had double ACL reconstruction while she was gone. That was part of storyline injury. And then Sasha and Bayley proceeded to work over her leg, and then she would face towards the Thunderdome screen of fans away from us, and all we saw was the back of her head as opposed to her face, to see her sell her knee throughout the match every time she was in. And I'm just like, we constantly make jokes about like the people that are from TNA or New Japan or from the Indies going to the PC and then learning how to work because they need to know where the hard cam is, because apparently no one has any spatial recognition or spatial awareness to know that like this is where the camera is. I need to face the camera so people can at home can see my facial expressions for pain, for pin attempts, for submissions, all of that. We've made jokes about that for years, Rich. Years. And I don't just mean us. Everyone's joked about the hard camera being to the left. We've always made that joke. Nia's been in on the main roster since what? 2016.
Yeah.
She forgot what the fucking hard cam was. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, she is in the Thunderdome, so maybe, them lights disoriented her.
Only her, though. Like only her. Ever. Yeah. Only her, ever.
Only her.
She's worse than she was before she tore or got knee surgery. Like, she was not, look, she wasn't some great wrestler. I don't even say she was a good wrestler. And she was injuring people left and right, but she was competent enough to know where the fucking camera was before. She's worse now.
So, like, it's funny, like, this match was like, there were long portions where they were getting the heat on Nia Jax. And, like, Nia Jax was selling and selling and selling. And I was like, end this match, please. But we did see the Shayna Baszler hot tag. James, did you know this existed?
No, but seeing what she did is like, oh, she's gonna knee people to fucking death. Give people running knees left and right. And I mean, her knees have always looked well. I've always looked good. I'm gonna give it more than this. Like, I enjoyed the beginning of the match with her and Sasha at the beginning when they're like trading through submission stuff, and like Sasha, trying to show us that like she could keep up hole for hole with a fucking former UFC fighter. But it actually made sense with some of the stuff she was doing as far as countering. Like, so it worked. It worked for me. Obviously it's ridiculous, but it worked in terms of wrestling. And, it was very similar to me, like watching like Matt Riddle and Roddy Strong throughout the last year when they've had matches like, this is ridiculous. Matt Riddle's fucking destroy you, but like, he has enough of a pedigree as a professional technical wrestler that like, it doesn't strain my credulity. I can actually buy into it. So I thought that was good. Mm-hmm. I thought that they did, Sasha and Bayley, did a very good job of isolating. Like, it felt like they were, they were so close with FTR. It felt like they were, doing a lot of FTR type stuff as far as like, mm-hmm. tricking the ref and isolating people, putting, wrestlers in the corners and taking advantage of situations. So I thought like, as a tag unit, it's like, damn, like, they're not the tag champs anymore. We're about to get Nia 2 brands, but like,
Nia and Shayna against, Caden Carter and, Casey Catanzaro. Can't wait. Can't wait. Win the ratings war.
Oh, God. Look. If it gets, Nia needs to be in the Performance Center at Full Sail. So, like, I'm not really like, I don't think that's exactly the worst idea in the world. Hey, you need to be here any damn way. We'll come up with a kayfabe storyline excuse. Yeah, you're here defending the titles, as opposed to like, we're trying to get you more that's experience. Funny. You have any other thoughts on that match? Or like, I guess cool the aftermath of it.
Cool finish.
Yeah. Made Shayna look really, they took a lot off of her, but like, they came up with something creative for her. I thought that helped.
Yeah, now they have to defend those belts. So
they could retire them. They don't have to. They don't have to.
They could just hold them and then like, yeah.
Okay, next match: Keith Lee versus Randy Orton.
Amazing
match. Or Keith Lee music comes out. They know that this shit sucks because they start with the beginning of Keith Lee's NXT music, and then they transition to that generic ass rock theme thing that could have been for 40 different jobbers. Mojo Rawley, yeah, any muscle bound dude like that could be that could be Riddick Moss's music. You would not know. Definitely ain't Keith Lee's music, but he comes out and he has like a top that reminds you of Thanos's top in the Marvel MCU movies. Except you look at it, it's like, okay, he has a hoodie on. Okay, that's fine. You look closer. Wait, are those Saiyan armor shoulder pads? So he's a Marvel and he's also Dragon Ball Z. That's all in one. Okay. Then you look down and you're like, wait, is that a grass skirt? Battle skirt? Like, so he's Samoan? Is he gonna do the haka? Like what? Hey, bro, did the Usos or Roman approve this? Is this appropriation? What is going on? So, in my mind,
this presentation has been flawed from minute one on the main roster.
Yeah. So, obviously the presentation, like, he has the kind of talent that can overcome some of this nonsense, but it's so hard to get someone over that, like, every bit matters. And they know this, but it was just like looking at that whole ensemble, and I'm just like, he's trying to be so many different things with the Dragon Ball Z stuff, the MCU stuff, this battle skirt that I don't know where the fuck that came from. Like, he's trying to be so many things that ultimately he looks like nothing.
He has so many gimmicks.
Yeah. Like, remember when Wayne said, like, I got so many styles, I am a group?
Yes.
Yeah, but, like, I don't listen to this group. Like, that's the Keith Lee thing. Like, yeah, I appreciate all of that.
That little win.
Huh?
Like, we'll take that little win right there.
Yeah.
Can I get the no ceilings version, please? Thank you.
That's on streaming now.
It is, but everyone had it 10 years ago.
Right. That I think he's had, like, one other, like, great thing, but whatever. His legacy is his legacy. Yeah, so get to the match. Keith Lee's not doing the Keith Lee things that makes him stand out from any other big men in the industry. He is having a standard match with Randy Orton, and he's not taking half of it. He's not taking most of it. He is working from underneath through I'd probably say, what you say, 60-40?
Like 70-30.
70-30? Okay. Yeah. But the thing is, like, it's a Randy Orton, like, TV match, except at the end, Orton, hits the DDT, sets up for the RKO. I don't know if he got out of it or he just basically, like, from there he just cleans him up and then gives him the spirit bomb and then stacks him on the shoulders and pins him. And I'm just like, wow, I'm really surprised that he beat Randy Orton. But at the same time, there still wasn't enough. And that's one of the reasons I was like, wow, I'm surprised he won, but this still wasn't enough.
Yeah, that's where ultimately, like, I was falling on it last night because I was like, okay, they are well aware of all the backlash that has gone on this last week with Keith Lee. Not only
with the music and then the top, what they did with him on Raw. So it's like you almost had to let him win this match, right? But the way they laid the match out, it's like,
Randy Orton's in complete control of this. He's laying on the guy in a headlock. Keith Lee does one leapfrog. He does a slam on the table. He does a chop, and then his finish. And it's like a 1980s match. And I'm like, none of this tells me anything about Keith Lee. Like, I understand it's a win over Randy Orton, but like, I mean, Matt Riddle got a win over AJ Styles. Is it a showcase match, or is it not? Is it a showcase match, or is it not a showcase match? Right. To me, it wasn't impressive. It wasn't impressive at all. It was like, we have like a template on how to, do short, explosive matches, like with Brody Lee, with Lance Archer, with Brian Cage. Like, he's just fucking demolitions the motherfucker. So like, I don't know why Randy Orton had to like own this. Right. I don't know why Randy Orton had to own this match in the way he did. And for me, like, Keith Lee didn't. Like, he won, like, and if you want to think about us, right? It's like it's a shock.
He got caught.
It's a shock flash finish. Like,
right.
Going forward will tell me more about what this was, and like, but my initial feeling on it is, they realized they've bungled the presentation with this. They had to give him this win, or else he was finished, or people would think he's finished.
Which is effectively the same thing.
Yeah. And this was like just a weird match, like as far as structure, layout, length, and the finish as well. Right. And I didn't think Keith Lee did anything. Like, if you didn't watch NXT, if you weren't aware of his indie career, who's this big black guy? That's pretty much it.
Yeah. And the thing for me that was weird was just like, okay, so I thought, given what this card is, this is going to go like, 12 minutes. And then it went 6. I was like, went 6. I'm surprised. My initial thought is like, wow, Keith Lee won. Interesting. Because we talked about this last week. Like, I thought that ultimately the finish was going to be Drew McIntyre shows up, and gets out of the match that way. But I didn't think Keith Lee was going to just beat him clean. But the thing is, like, you're right. It's just like, he wins, and he wins in a match where it's like nobody got a chance to have their match, and it's like, it especially like sticks out when, like, you just saw the match Orton had at SummerSlam a week ago. Mm-hmm. It's like, we can get that match between those two, like, let you know to, like, at it, when it really comes down to it, and when you take Randy Orton into some type of real tested water, like, or Keith Lee some tested water, like, yeah, he can put away Randy Orton. Like, obviously there's still time, like, this could be the beginning of the program. I doubt that, though. Like, I don't, but then again, let me phrase this. In a normal company, if you beat, somebody in the title, if a title challenger loses, and then the next pay-per-view loses to someone else, like, they're out of title competition, but like, it's WWE, like, you can lose, and be like Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. You lose at WrestleMania, and the next pay-per-view, you're in a fucking title match. So, like, I don't think they're done with Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre. I think maybe this is something to where they can delay this to a later date, but I don't know if that necessarily means that we're going to now get Randy Orton versus Keith Lee. If we do, maybe we will get the match that we really want out of the situation where, like, we get to see what Keith Lee's all about, in the coming weeks. But I don't have NXT or WWE Raw up right now. I'm watching playoff basketball while I'm recording this, so I don't know what they did this week, but we'll discuss it, next week.
Yeah, if it's like newsworthy, we'll like bring it in.
Well, we'll bring it in because, we're probably right. We're probably pretty right.
You never know. Like, I mean,
true.
We'll see. Like,
that's true.
Like, because like,
I'm just playing percentages.
I wouldn't have called him winning clean, but like at the same time, it was like, this was not impressive. Like,
yeah, this is not what you imagine for out of somebody you think is like, that they call it like as if like a top prospect, right? Like, think of like the stuff he did with Roman and the stuff he did with Brock. Like, that was way more impressive than this 6-minute match. And that was when he was still, 8 months away from coming up here. Now he's here. You should probably do more impressive things now that he's actually fucking here. That's really the real main thing. She was like, he won, but it's like, okay. But yeah, like, I want to see some kick-ass 15-minute Randy Orton and Keith Lee match. That'd be great. Yeah, so next match after that, Los Mysterios versus Seth and Buddy McIntyre. Buddy Murphy. Hey, bro. Dominic Mysterio Rookie of the Year? I'm not even, look, I'm kind of joking, but like, these two back-to-back Sundays, he's had two good-ass matches. Like, do I think they're going to make him to some superstar or whatever else? No, but like, they've done pretty, the normal person that comes, Ricochet ain't even done this well out the gate in WWE. And that's Ricochet.
So, like, where do the Los Mysterios rank on best father-son duos you can think of? Like, ooh, we got, like, Ken Griffey Jr. and Sr. We got Alonzo and LeVar Ball.
Oh, my God.
We got LeBron James and LeBron James Jr.
Oh, Lord. Are you going to start pulling out Ted Ginn Sr. and Jr.?
Look, Steve Smith Sr. Just for Steve Smith.
Steve Smith Sr.
Gary Trent and Gary Trent Jr.
Are you going to do Randy and Thaddeus Moss?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Randy and Thaddeus Moss. Yes. Who else? Archie and Peyton Manning. You know. Trying to think. Man. Who else we got?
I mean, there's a few throughout sports. I don't know where to put it really. I think time will tell on this. It has a chance to be the best. It really does. It truly does. Oh yeah, we forgot about Barry Bonds and his dad. We forgot about that.
That's right, Barry and Bobby.
Yep. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously this was like you finally get the satisfying win as babyface team that's been getting the shit beat out of them. They finally got that match, because they've done a lot of feel good moment things. Ultimately, where they come up short, where there was that Survivor Series with them versus Brock or Ray versus Brock that ultimately led to Dominic being in there. You had SummerSlam, obviously, and then you had this match. So they've had moments with the Mysterios. And it was cool to see them finally win. I think, this is like the attaboy for signing onto that contract.
Oh, yeah.
But, eventually, Rey Mysterio and Seth Rollins will not be in some type of feud. Where do you think they both go? Or do you think this is the end? Let me phrase that. Do you think this is the end? I'll start there. Do you think this is the end, or do you think this continues?
Nah, they're going. They got to do a regular rules singles match, and I think they booked one for tonight.
I'm about to say
with Seth and Ray.
Now, it'd been hilarious.
What
if they had saved it for one more month and they finally did it, and it'd be like the 1 year anniversary for when Brock came out and fucked that match before the last.
Oh my God!
Before on that last Monday of September, that'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
Like long term storytelling. This started a year ago. I was like, get the fuck out of here. But yeah.
Kellen Winslow Senior and the fucking Soldier, Kellen Winslow. Jr.
That's the number one. Like, Kellen Winslow is one of the greatest tight ends to ever play football, and then Kellen Winslow II was the greatest college football tight end I've ever seen. Or let me phrase that most anyone's ever seen. So
Kobe and Joe Jellybean Bryant.
That's a lot of heavy lifting from Junior, ain't it?
Yeah. Randy and Bob Orton.
So now we pulling in fake sports too now?
No, hold on. Who else we got? We got Felipe and Moise Alou. We got Clay Matthews Jr. and Clay Matthews III. Let's see. We've got Dale Earnhardt and Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Yeah, we do.
Rick and Brent Berry.
Oh, yeah.
We got Ken Norton Jr. and Ken Norton Sr. Calvin and Grant Hill.
I had no idea that Calvin Hill was in the NBA. I had no idea.
Calvin Hill was in NFL.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Let's see. Ned and Dale Jarrett. Whoa, we're getting too far away. Man.
Please don't say Jerry and Jeff.
Oh my God. Jerry and Jeff Jarrett. Unbelievable.
Please don't do that.
You know, Dusty and Dustin Rhodes.
I see what you did there. I see what you're doing there. Stop this right now. You know what you're doing. Stop this. Look, bro, we've got a few weeks without Floyd going off on us on the show. Don't do this. I don't need Floyd adding me with that bullshit. Okay, stop. You be agitating that man. Stop.
You know, just naming, his first offspring, they say your first is your best, most times, so.
Tell that to Venus Williams.
Yeah.
Tell that to Tyler Griffin.
True.
Tell that to Cooper Manning. Cooper's first mistake was, I want to be a wide receiver. Nah, bro. You should have been played quarterback. Cause Cooper was such a better athlete than Eli or Peyton that, obviously he had the situation, where he got sick, but still, or actually no, it was a back situation. Like, if you decided to be a quarterback, who knows where this would have ended up. But anyway,
Dell and Steph Curry,
Oh yeah.
Clay and Michael Thompson. Doc Rivers, Austin Rivers.
Yeah.
The Sabonis's.
Oh, yeah.
Larry Nance and Larry Nance Jr.
Is Larry Nance Jr. still in the league? I have not seen anything since LeBron left the Cavs. Is he still there?
I believe he's still in the league.
Okay.
Tim Hardaway and Tim Hardaway Jr.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a Maverick.
Luke Walton.
He's a Maverick.
Yep. Bill and Luke Walton, and we'll leave it there. Lots of great father-son combos.
That's one of the things for the playoffs, right? When you just for a team that you don't really watch that often, it's like, oh shit, Tim Hardaway. That's right. He's not a Knick no more. He's a Maverick.
Like that man done escaped.
Yeah. In the playoffs, leave the Knicks. Look, was he in that trade with Porzingis?
Yes.
Yeah. Leave the Knicks. Immediately go to the playoffs.
Bro, I think I think he something happened. He re-signed with the Knicks, or what happened was he was originally there, right? And then he was a free agent, and then the Knicks had to pay 5 times what they would have paid him before or some shit, and he signed with them again, and then he got traded, I think.
Okay.
As far as the tag team match, it was the best match on the show.
Oh yeah, it's the only match I'd recommend to anyone. I'd probably give it 3. I'd probably give it somewhere between 3.5, 3 3/4. I really liked that match. I actually want to watch it again. That's how much I liked it. But
Dom Mysterio
might be Rookie of the Year, bro. Might be Newcomer of the Year. He might be. Who else are the candidates? Would Penelope Ford be one of those?
You could say that. This is the first year she got a push, kind of. Ricky Starks.
Ricky Starks would be up there.
He's not really new, but I guess he's new.
He was on NWA. That don't we talk about that. We talk when our category is first year in a major promotion. So that's basically New Japan, AEW, and WWE. Am I missing any major promotion?
Yeah. No.
Right.
You're definitely not missing Impact or anything.
No, I'm not missing Impact. Not missing Ring of Honor either. So yeah, after that, the main event. Triple Threat Falls Count. No, I'm sorry. Triple Threat Nose Hold Bar match, which is a triple threat match. Roman Reigns versus The Fiend versus Braun Strowman. Stipulation of the story of the match is that, or leading into the match is that on SmackDown on Friday, nobody has come forth, Adam Pearce has made everybody sign the contract. Roman has not signed the contract. He wants some changes added to the contract, and that is at the council of Paul Heyman. Roman Reigns is a Paul Heyman guy, which like strains my credulity because I remember a main plot of the WrestleMania 34 storyline was that he was trying to convince Roman to sign with him then, and Roman fell for it because he spoke some saying in Samoan because he said about how he used to do the car rides with Alpha and Sika, and then he handed him a piece of paper or a card, I can't remember the time, and then like literally 8 seconds later, he pulls out a can of mace and maces the fuck out of Roman Reigns, and then Brock Lesnar comes out and beats the shit out of him, I think with a chair. So,
and
like,
then he later won the match.
Yeah. So, I wouldn't even want to bring that part up, but seeing it like they had did that just 2 years ago, and then now all of a sudden he's a Paul Heyman guy, I was like, okay, you can't just sweep this off as this happened off panel, off screen. I need at least explanation for how did, after he already suckered him in like he was fucking Sting in the 90s, how you finally like got him to believe you this time without him fucking choking you to death with his bare hands for trying it again.
Yeah, I would have liked some kind of explanation before it was just like thrust upon us.
Right.
But
so I don't mind the pairing at all.
Yeah,
I actually invite the pairing. I like the pairing, but like as far as the story, there's shit missing. We need that filled in.
Yeah, so I guess I was wrong about completely last week. So he is a heel, and you know I don't know if he's like a chicken shit heel. He was begging off a little bit, but this move showing up halfway through the match was fucking horrible before he got there. They did break the ring and everything else like that. Actually, it was okay. It was all right. They were hitting each other with shit.
Yeah,
but
I won't say I liked the match, but like it was way better than the week before. Way better than the week before.
Yeah. But you know him, like he was already in the match, so the whole sign the contract thing was weird to me. I was like, whatever. And he runs out and with the chair and just beating on him. I got a kick out of everything, actually. I thought it was funny. I was like, yes, Roman Reigns beat these two fucking geeks and take the belt and like do something new. Like just make him the champ. Y'all always wanted to make him champ and do it as a heel but do it as a, like, they better not fuck this off. Like, and just make him this one dimensional, like, shithead, essentially. That's kind of my concern, right? Like, when he should just be this big badass motherfucker that
right.
that's putting everyone in their place, that's letting them give back some of that energy he's always gotten. That's what we're looking for. Like, I just hope it's not like he's like skirting around every rule. He doesn't want to fight. I'm like, since when doesn't he want to fight? Come on, man. Like, he should be wanting all smoke and then whatever. I don't know. But glad he's the champion. Way better than the fucking Fiend.
Yep.
Way better than Braun Strowman.
Yep.
It sucks that WWE has to like nuke everything to the level that they do, to where Reigns is like the better option by default.
Yeah.
But that's kind of their strategy.
Yeah. If he's going to be back, I don't know how often he's going to be back. Like, I don't think you want him to be a regular when he has a shirt that says wreck everything and leave. Like, I hope that they would have the restraint with him to where he's like on TV like every other week. And he wrestles maybe like twice a month. But, I would hope that, especially that, he's on the 2-hour show. If he's on the 3-hour show, I feel different, but he's on the 2-hour show. He doesn't need to wrestle all that often. Unless, I take that back. You know what they're going to do. Put him out there.
Treat him like he's Brock.
We need the ratings. I don't want to go that far because, early Brock. If you say,
well, no, hell no. I don't think he's going to be a part-timer at all.
Okay.
But what I think they're going to essentially make his character like Brock. Like,
I can see that. I can see that.
Like that's what I would think they're going to do.
I can see that. I What I don't want is for Friday to come around and I have to hear about like there was some You People promo, like they come up with something else. Yes, I get it. If there was any person that actually like could do a You person for the backlash he got, it would be him. I get it, but it's so expected that it's like. I wouldn't say it's bad if they do what's expected, but I wouldn't necessarily find it interesting either.
What if he did something like, it was my fault. It was my fault I wasn't good enough for you. It was my fault that, that you guys, couldn't love me. It was my fault. I did all these things. It was my fault for winning the Royal Rumble, too early. It was my fault for your woman. Like, he should just like lean all the way in.
He's going to have to cut a promo.
It was my fault for looking like this.
Yeah, it's my fault for looking, exotic.
Yes.
So I don't know what to expect. I have no expectations. Like whatever they do, like hopefully it's good. But I getting the belt on him compared to those options, absolutely. Absolutely.
It feels like they've broken the glass in case of emergency with this.
Do you feel like they were panicking?
Yes. Like, it's like, what was the big idea going forward?
Oh, you mean like, do you think this was like some long-term thing? Or are you saying like basically they pulled this out their ass? What you're saying?
Like, let's fucking do it. Cause like they didn't have anything else. Like that was like Brock's contract quietly expired. So it's like, yeah, so that was reported earlier today. So, I figured that they're like, we need a way to introduce you, and we just can't put you back out on TV like the way you always were. Maybe they feel like they can't. They always could. But I think it was like, well, why don't we just do it? It sucks that like there's no real fans to give them that reaction that would have just made it all worth it. But these are the times.
Yeah, it's just a weird thing where it's like, now's the time to make him heel. Now is.
Vince McMahon probably thinks he's a quitter or some shit. Like,
but even then, it's like, okay, so, like, what about all this fuck shit y'all did with like, Dean Ambrose and with Drew McIntyre to, about the cancer stuff over the last, like, no, he's not a cancer survivor no more. Like, it just felt like they waited too long to pull the trigger, and it's like it's almost it feels in a way like the jury's out on it. Like I want to see Roman wrestle new guys he hasn't wrestled before, and this definitely helps that he doesn't but
he doesn't have to wrestle Corbin.
Right. That's keep them the fuck away from each other. But like this definitely is like opens up the opportunity for fresher matchups, and kind of gets the Royal Rumble stuff out the way with Roman, the baggage that it includes that's been the case for better part for the last 5 years. But I wonder, it just feels like, we always talk about at a certain point they reached with Cena, was like, what's the point of ever turning him heel now? Like, we should did this shit years ago. It's too late. And I almost feel like, in a way, I feel like we passed that with Roman, but it's like, we'll see. It doesn't necessarily mean he won't be doing good work or whatever, or anything like that, or have good programs or matches or none of that. Just like, from an interest point of we passed the point of you really wanting it on almost now. It's like that, after, for me, all that shit was, in my mind, I imagine this shit was all dead for a lot of people, after, oh, he's going to fight for his life for cancer. Why do I ever want to see that dude as a heel anymore, ever, in the future if he comes back? If he even comes back. Now he's a heel, is like, huh.
So okay. Daniel Bryan before him, his return was completely airballed, and then he was turned into a heel, and then made the champion.
Never thought about it until now, but yeah.
Linked.
Yep,
they're intrinsically linked forever.
That appears to be the case, Rich. That appears to be the case. Yeah.
All right.
But as far as the match goes, I mean, they went out there and they beat the shit out of each other. They went out there and beat the shit out of each other, and then Roman came in and cashed in effectively. It was funny because I was calling it was like, bro, he's got to cash in, and somebody in the messenger was like, what about Otis? And I'm like, what about him? Like, look, if you want to do a cash in with Otis, sure. Have him cash in right now. Have Roman come out here and pin him before Otis can win the title, or have Otis come out there after he's, quote unquote, robbed these two big Goliaths that went out there and slapped meat for 10 minutes. Have him come out there like he's gonna cash in and have Roman spear him out his fucking boots and get rid of the cash in for the rest of the year. Like, I like Otis. The cash in, the Money in the Bank thing was just a mistake. Like, he is a lower mid-card comedy act. Like, I mean, would you want to see R-Truth with the briefcase? I wouldn't.
No.
Yeah.
What else would be a mistake, James?
What?
It would be a mistake if you guys did not order your Manscaped products. So support for One Nation Radio this week, like all weeks, is brought to you by Manscaped, who's the best in men's below the belt grooming. Manscaped offers precision engineered tools for your family jewels. They obsess over their technology developments to provide you the best tools for your grooming experience. Manscaped has the redesigned electronic trimmer, and the engineering team spent 18 months perfecting the greatest ball hair trimmer ever created, and just released the new improved lawnmower 3.0. And, since we just reviewed Payback, there's another pay-per-view that's coming this weekend, is the AEW All Out pay-per-view. So we want to, here at the Social Suplex Podcast Network, take care of that for you. So, we're running a contest to where, if you guys send us proof of purchase of any kind of, purchase from Manscaped, does not have to be the full shaver, it can be any of their products. What you're going to want to do is send proof of that purchase to socialsuplex@gmail.com. And we're taking care of the first 5 people that do it. I know a couple of spots have gone already. So if you want to watch All Out for free, make sure you do that. Send your proof of purchase to socialsuplex@gmail.com. And of course, don't forget to use our code SUPLEX. That's right, the code SUPLEX, and you get 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com.
And with that, we will transition to talking about Thursday's episode of AEW Dynamite.
Yes, AEW is all by itself this week on a foreign night, and NXT was by themselves.
This week will be the same thing too, where NXT will be on a Tuesday for what reason I don't know, but
hockey playoffs.
Oh, okay. And then on Wednesday, Dynamite will have Wednesday to itself.
Yeah. So. I liked this show. I was actually on All Things Elite this week immediately following the show, so everything was just kind of sinking in immediately, and I've since thought about the show more and all that, and just let's get to it. So we had the Gauntlet, of course, up first. We started the teams were the Young Bucks, Natural Nightmares, Best Friends, and FTR. What did you think of this match, James?
I liked I thought the best match was the Young Bucks versus the Best Friends, and then none of the matches were bad, but none of the matches popped for me where I was like, yeah, this is some match I'd recommend. But I did like I did like all 3 matches as far as they good work done, especially the beginning with Dustin and QT versus the Young Bucks. They worked at a very fast pace start out. Yeah. They even allude to it with the joke with Dustin running out of breath. I did enjoy, I think one of my favorite spots of the night, or this week actually, was the spot where QT Marshall, in the words of Jericho, went for the springboard handstand rebound and whatever his gimmick was going to be, whether it was going to be the the kick, the head kick or whatever else, or the flip over kick where there's going to be like the Will Ospreay or the Cedric Alexander. But Young Bucks both ducked out the way. He landed on his knees and he both fucking super clicked his face off. I was like, thank you, Young Bucks. Appreciate you for that. That's going in the meme hall of fame for me. But yeah, the second match with Best Friends had the spot where at the very beginning of the match, Chuck Taylor hurts his knee and sells his knee and then like proceeds to wrestle the rest of the match without doing anything at all with his knee. The only thing that was commentary was on the ball and referenced it because they knew it was going to play into the finish, even though the wrestlers somehow didn't know that, or Chucky T didn't realize that.
Post-production.
Yeah. And then we get to this fucking guy, Hangman Page.
Yeah. Man, there's some hoish activity out here.
They were setting up, the Young Bucks were setting up for the, was it Indy Taker or Meltzer Driver? I can't remember.
One of the two.
Yeah, I don't know which one is which.
It didn't get that far. Okay, yeah. The Meltzer Driver is the flip, the flipping tombstone.
Okay.
The Indy Taker is the one where he just jumps flat like a regular springboard.
Just a basic stuff pile driver.
Right.
Okay. So Meltzer's the flip. Makes sense because Meltzer loves flips.
Yeah, gotta do it extra for Dave.
That makes all the sense. Like, bro, I saw some match that he gave 4 1/4 on AEW's cage match guide that he gave 4 1/4, and like the cage match rating suggested that shit is like 2 3/4. Like,
are you serious?
Yes. No, I'm sorry, 3.5. I'm sorry, 3.5. Okay. 3.5. I was like, God damn, Meltzer, you be killing, you be ODing it with these fucking ratings for AEW. Anyway, yeah, so they were setting up for either Indy Taker or Meltzer Driver, and then Hangman sprints. Like he was from the fucking future and he was trying to stop some bullshit from happening. Like he fresh off the time machine, sprinted in, he grabbed Nick by the leg, and then I forgot which one it was, with the Chucky T or
Trent.
Beretta. Okay, so Trent rolls it up for a cover, and then he basically backs off to the corner. They get the win.
Bro, I was shocked.
Really? I always thought that they were going to avoid the Young Bucks match. Young Bucks versus FTR. I didn't think they were going to do that on TV.
Like, this was a great, like, angle. Like, it was like I felt like an audible gasp. I was like, no, like Hangman. Cause I was like, I didn't see Hangman at first. And then they were like, is Hangman there? I'm like, Hangman, where the fuck is he? And then you see him and I'm like, oh no, he's fucking the Bucks. And then it was like, oh shit, the Bucks lost. So that's how they got out of it. Okay. Like, it's like they always just figure it out.
I was expecting them to lose. So I was like, I'm waiting to figure out how they lose. And then I saw Hangman. I was like, oh, that's what they did. I see what you did there. And, you know, it just plays to the motivation.
It's your time to shine, James. Go ahead.
Nah, I'm not taking a victory lap on this. Like, cause this wasn't like I was some clairvoyant or I had the foresight. They never told some story that said that Hangman wasn't anything but some melodramatic bitch the whole time. He started drinking beer and people liked it. So I'm not even gonna take credit for it. Like, I was just right in, like, I feel like more people should have picked this up. That's all. Or not picked this up, but like, you know, if you like Hangman, I like him too. But it's like, because obviously he's a very talented dude, but it's like, I just never got in the storyline for why people wanted to boo the Bucks during that match. I was like, the Young Bucks rooted for this dude, wanted to keep him around, and he's like in his feelings and insecure. Like, I don't see how that is a character trait that y'all would want to root for. I just find that to be weird.
I still think the long-term plan is for Heyman to end up the babyface here. So
could be. I'm not putting anything in stone, but like, I'm just saying he's acting like he's going out like a sucker. He's absolutely going out like a sucker.
For sure. Like, strangely, like, Kenny has not been around the last 2 weeks, and I feel like when Kenny comes back, there's going to be like held, like he's going to beat the shit out of Heyman, or something's going to happen.
And like, Kenny, you know, and look, Kenny been out here in the last couple of weeks, you know,
on edge.
been out here trying to murder people. So it's like, it's not like, look, the only, everybody's a heel in AEW, bitch. He can't look him in the eyes. They're looking at him, they staring daggers into him. They're like, bro, why would you fuck us? What did we do to you, bro? Like, and he had no answers. He can't look him in the eye. And then they move on to the next match. FTR comes out. They immediately attack, Chucky T's leg. And then it's like, oh, so like, now it's time for you to sell it again. So they end up slapping a move on his leg. They work over his leg a bit. They slap on a move on his leg. He taps out. They get the win.
Such hard work by FTR.
Yeah. I mean, they did their work at the start. They won all those matches to get this favorable position, right? Like, you remember when you were in high school and you had math homework and it was like, show your work? Yeah. We showed our work. We put all our work out here on display in the weeks leading up to this moment. And, you know, we got the pole positioning. That's all it is. You know, we got pole position because we ran well on the, you know, what is the shit they do before they actually have NASCAR races on the weekend? I forgot what them shit's called. Test runs? Are they test runs?
No idea.
Whatever them test runs like shits where they they race during the weekend or whatever else to figure out pole positioning. Like, they were at the front of that. They had the best, you know, laps at that time, and now it's time for the race. They got pole position. That's all this is. So yeah. Yeah, shout out to Bubba Wallace. Yeah. But, you know, Revival versus Hangman and Kenny Omega.
Can't wait. I will be in the building.
We're not gonna get some clean finish. Like, something goofy's gonna happen. And I don't mean goofy like there's gonna be some random someone cheats or whatever else, but like we're gonna get something where somebody's turning.
Yeah, somebody's abandoned somebody.
Like, yeah, somebody's like the belts are gonna change because one of them quits on the other, and we'll go from there. That's what it seems like we're headed, because like, look at how both of these two dudes are acting. Like, these aren't mega powers, but like they damn sure about to explode.
Yeah, I think this is the match I'm looking forward to the most. I'm actually going all out.
Do you think it will be better than Young Bucks versus Kenny and Hangman? Because I don't think it will be.
Look, I'm not about to predict something being better than the greatest tag match of all time. So, like, they're gonna have to show me, but I'm hyped for it. So,
okay.
They then announced another match that will be at the All Out show. There's going to be the return of the Casino Battle Royal. So, of course, at Double or Nothing, they did a ladder match instead of the Battle Royal out of, you know, they weren't trying to put 21 people in the ring at the same time. But since we've all collectively decided that COVID-19 is over, we're going to have, you know, a Battle Royal here. And on All Things Elite, I said quietly the AEW roster has expanded as they've gotten more people back and signed new people. I have no problem with a battle royal here. I would have liked to see Ricky and Darby in a singles match. However, both of those guys are in this battle royal along with Lance Archer. The new, Eddie Kingston unit, those 5 guys. And, I would assume some Dark Order members will be in there.
Oh yeah, you see lots of Nimbers in there. Lots of Nimbers. Not numbers, yes. Nimbers.
Yep. But yeah, all like Brian Cage, Team Taz, all those guys are in there. So this should be pretty good. Like AEW's done really good battle royal so far.
Any surprise guesses? You know, there's gonna be like 1 or 2.
There has to be 1.
Oh yeah, 21 is always, you know, 21 is their surprise guy.
Yeah.
Or person.
I'm trying to think of who's out there.
We have scraped the plate, haven't we?
Yeah. I don't think Rusev's doing anything in wrestling right now, so I'm not even going to say him. Rusev.
Oh, I thought you said Russo, and I was like, wait, what?
No.
Like, I don't want him anywhere near professional wrestling. I don't even want him to watch the shit, let alone be there.
Yeah, I think it's either like Lance Archer or some shock guy who I haven't determined yet. That comes out last.
Lance Archer?
Yeah.
Why would I be surprised, though?
Well, I'm saying, like, if they don't have a surprise, they'll bring in Lance last.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
To, like, clear niggas out.
Gotcha. Okay.
Then, highlight of the show. Of course, well, this talking segment, they had Jay Roberts in the ring sounding drunk. Taz didn't quite get his promo out. But then Ricky Starks and Darby Allin beat the shit out of each other, and Starks was shoeless. Running away from this man was hilarious. Cage and Archer try to face off, and they're teasing that monster battle there.
Oh, well, you forgot the squash match.
I did? Oh, yes, that's right. Lance Archer wrestled Evolve legend and CWC legend Sean Maluta.
I saw him. I was like, wow, Sean Maluta. And then the graphic came up. I was like, huh. Haven't seen him.
Yeah. So, for those of you not familiar, this man took Kota Ibushi to his absolute limit in round 1 of the CWC. For about 4 or 5 seconds, he looked like he was going to win. And then Ibushi got him the fuck out of here. And we hadn't really seen much of him since. He's done job work all around 205 Live.
Yep.
He was in Evolve as well. And he makes his way here. And, gets fucked up by Lance. So after that, highlight of the show, the video package for the AEW Women's World Championship match at All Out. Billy Corgan's on there doing a voiceover. He put it over how great it is that the NWA and AEW are working together. They put over both Thunder Rosa as a big star and a talented wrestler and a champion, showing the 1948 belt all on the screen.
Yes.
JR built up Sheeta. Yes, JR built up Sheeta a lot. They signed a contract for it. This thing was 2 minutes long, and it felt like, man, I saw everything. I saw both of these women in their own element. Like, Hikaru Shida had the kimono on and was looking tough and poised and like a champion. And Thunder Rosa showed up in the dress with the face paint on, which was a quite unique look. So I was very into this.
Yeah, I thought this was very well done. And it wasn't like it was a long thing, and nor did it need to be, but like, this was something that, like, I feel like they could do for, pretty much any big matchup. And this was well done. Like, it ain't, obviously they had to do not a lot of work, but like, they absolutely had to do some work on explaining to the people, their fan base, who, not Hikaru, they know who that is, but who Thunder Rosa was and why this is a big deal. And I thought they did a good job showing that match she had, last year with, Allison Kay, highlights of it to show, like, some of the things she could do is, like, yes, she is NWA Women's Champion, but, like, she can go. So, whatever they got as matches, is a plus. It's cherry on, or not cherry, my God, icing on top of the cake. So, this is a nice luxury match.
Yep. Look forward to seeing that one too. Then we got the Moxley and MJF contract signing. So MJF came out with his lawyer, Mark Sterling, and his campaign entourage, and Mox joined him. And MJF, like, then goes on, like, a long, unique promo. Just great talking up and down. He said that he was a pro wrestling prodigy. He grew up studying guys like Ernie Ladd and Buddy Rogers, while Moxley was watching The Sandman, Onita, and John Zandig.
He also, who else? He mentioned one other person. Sandman, Onita. New Jack. He mentioned New Jack.
New Jack. Yes, that's right. I'm like, man, you watch your mouth, MJ. I'm talking about New Jack. I would never talk about New Jack. Hi, New Jack, if you're hearing this. But yeah, I like this whole, like, I thought MJF's promo was, like, great. It went a little long, but it was great.
His execution is always on point. Like, that's never the issue with me. It's just, like, for me, it's more of a concern of, does the average person know this or would even believe this? Or, like, so for me, when he talks about the influences for Moxley and talks about, you watch all this trash hardcore wrestling and death matches or whatever else, it's like, this is supposed to be the promotion that, or this is the promotion that doesn't insult your intelligence and like knows that you know stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I don't really buy that as a realistic claim that someone like MJF would actually really give to Jon Moxley. Like, if this was just to say that, like, you wrestled like a garbage wrestler, that's one thing, but to say, like, your influence were actually these guys, like, maybe they are, but it's like, his influence are also, like, Bret fucking Hart. You know what I mean? That's why it's kind of weird to me. It's like, this dude is, like, basically, like, maybe if he was talking to Dean Ambrose, then, yeah, I'd buy that he was talking to Ambrose, but he's talking to Jon Moxley, and, like, yes, it's the same person, but, like, it's different. It's like, one person's a figure man's wrestler that will, pull a cheese grater and slice your fucking face. And then, like, but Ambrose is the guy that they said he was. I feel like that promo works better against Ambrose instead of Dean Moxley. I feel like that promo is better for Dean Ambrose than Jon Moxley, if you get what I'm saying. And I don't know if, like, that was intentional or not, but, like, I didn't feel like he was trying to differentiate at the time. Yeah. So that's kind of where I'm on it. But, like, it still had a lot of stuff in it that was very good. And, like, like I said, his delivery and stuff is always on point.
So, Jon Moxley he got named the PWI 500 number 1.
Yep.
No problem at all there. Like, looking at, like, and he's this is probably a precursor for, get ready everybody, for him winning the Ric Flair Luthez award.
Yeah.
It's him.
Yeah,
like,
and we've been discussing this even before this came out about, like, where he, what his year's been like, and, COVID or not, like, if you're gonna count the award, he would be an MVP.
Yeah. Also, it's PWI. If you want to really get upset over it, come on, man.
It's kayfabe.
It's kayfabe. But,
and in kayfabe, he absolutely should be number 1. He hasn't lost this year.
Yeah. He hasn't lost. He's been a world champion. He's done great business. He's been in 2 companies. He's champion in both companies.
Right. Who would be a better pick?
Yeah.
Especially for the time frame, where it's like from summer to summer, not like, it's from summer to summer. Like, right now, yeah.
Yeah. So
I heard Jericho was 3.
Jericho was 3. Yep.
Who's 2?
Adam Cole was number 2. But since NXT isn't a world championship, like, it's not recognized as a world championship, I think some people got upset by that and claimed that was biased. Well, I just have one answer for them. Like, WWE doesn't even count NXT as a world championship. So once they do that, maybe someone else in a publication will.
Adam Cole makes sense because of how great the first 6 months of the grading period was for him. But so I see that. I get that.
After that, though.
Yeah. What I would say is, like, his 6 months, or that 6 months he had, was, like, better than anyone else in the world, maybe. So I can see how, like, even just being around still keeps him alive. Like, he was still having some pretty good matches, like, after February, or actually I take it back. Like, his run basically goes from, like, June to February. So it's more than 6 months, more like, 7 or 8 months. But yeah, I'm with you.
So pretty much, like, Moxley, like, starts responding, and he got pissed after, MJF made this comment about Renee Young. Moxley didn't need a paradigm shift, but he'd like to dump his opponent on his head and neck just because he doesn't like him. So nothing matters. September 5th, you're a dead man. He basically tricks him into signing the contract immediately. And Moxley had added a stipulation and basically was a smart babyface and basically said, yeah, I get the lawyer next week, and if he doesn't show up, MJF loses his shot. So I would now the storyline's essentially all built up. I would have wanted more. Like, I thought it was going to go to a level higher, but we'll see when the match comes.
So Moxley beats the shit out of the lawyer MJF, and Wardlow beat his ass for the heat on the Go Home show, right? That's what you envision. That's what you expect.
That's
right?
What I would think, because they still haven't really gotten physical. So,
or physical, or in a way to where believe that MJF can actually beat Moxley or put Moxley or hurt Moxley, because all it's been is pretty much MJ or him getting better MJF, which I'm fine with that for a top babyface, champion, foiling the heels, elaborate plans and stuff. But I kind of want MJF needs to put him down one time to get you to believe it at least one time.
Yeah. Then we had a 8-man tag match: Lucha Bros and Butcher and the Blade against Joey Janela, Sonny Kiss, Brian Pillman Jr., and who the fuck is Griff Garrison? So, this is a quick match, pretty much designed to have Lucha Bros and Butcher and the Blade look strong. They got, the win and basically, put away Pillman Jr. after Pillman Jr. Did a nice little hot tag at the end. So from here, Eddie Kingston announced that they'd all be in the Casino Battle Royal. Of course, a lot of guys in there. So after that, Brody Lee came out, and it was time to celebrate his TNT Championship victory. And he cuts a hell of a promo. I think his best promo since he's it was like a longer version of what he did before the Cody match, but now he has the belt to go with the confidence, the real belt. So he said that the Open Challenge series was dead. No more time for the independent wrestlers. Yes, Brody Lee, a fan of Stop the Charity. And he ordered the Dark Order is silenced, and he introduced Anna Jay as the newest member of the family, number 99, as she is the Queen Slayer and the Great One, like Wayne Gretzky, yes. So she's number 99.
The Rock.
Yeah.
No, well, you said the Great One, maybe think of the Rock, but yes, Wayne Gretzky, 99, yes.
Yeah. So John Silver tried to, tried it basically, and he got slapped by Brody Lee. And from there, Dustin Rhodes and QT came out, and you just got to see this whole promo for yourself. It was awesome.
Do you like the part where the numbers start chanting "You deserve," and he tells them, "Shut the hell up!
Yes.
Get that shit out of here!"
Loved it.
And then you hear Ross cross the ass with commentary. He says, "I approve." Someone lines of letting you know, yeah, get that shit out of here too. I don't like that.
Yeah. Then Dustin and QT brought their ass out for some reason, and they got their ass whooped. And then Scorpio came out and cleared the ring, and then Anna Jay slapped him, and then he got laid out by Brody Lee. And then Matt Cardona came and saved the baby faces and ran the Dark Order off. And we've got Cody's friends and his brother and some guy he fought once all teaming up to fight on his behalf.
Yeah. And they wore that ass open.
Yeah. All right. At least Scorpio's got his booked on the pay-per-view. So, Brody Lee, he'll be a different kind of champion here, it seems, from Cody. No open challenge. A fan of that, because I think it's time to start pulling that back a little bit, especially, my hashtag Stop the Charity movement that was going on.
Yeah, it wasn't a TV title. I'm glad that, they're showing that it wasn't, in fact, a TV title, just something that Cody wanted to do. Or whoever, or some decision they made to where, they wanted to have Cody, try to get over some guys. Which, I don't know if he could have done a better job, so I'm not knocking him for that at all. It came at a time, though, when I was like, ugh, but, it worked for the most part. It's mostly a positive thing. The only real thing I have an issue with was that one match he had with Jungle Boy, just yo, all of this for Jungle Boy. All of this for Jungle Boy. Yeah. They didn't he blade off of bumping his head into a wall?
Yes.
Oh my fucking god. Alright, I'm not enough of Cody. Yeah. Yeah, man, here for it. Interested to see who his opponent is going to be at pay-per-view, or if he's even going to be on pay-per-view, or what what's he going to do. But interested to start seeing Luke Harper in semi-main events or big matches in the weeks to come.
So he's actually going to be in an 8-man tag against those guys.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So okay, that'll be a fun match.
Yeah.
Do we know which numbers we're going to get?
Not yet.
Okay.
I don't believe so. So up next we had Britt Baker and Reba and Penelope Ford versus Big Swole in a comedy match.
Oh my god, this match sucked.
Yeah, this was not good at all. Sucked. This was like, ooh, like
it just wasn't good at all. Like Penelope fucked up a lot of stuff, and she didn't ask her to do that much. Rebel, I don't know if it was her still playing the gimmick of she doesn't know what she's doing, and then also how much was it like actually like she's rusty as fuck. So it was a lot, but it was not good, and it was like
this ain't it. Like this ain't it. So
yeah, this is bad. This is bad. This is like one of the worst things. This is one of the worst things that's ever been on AEW television.
Like, this is real bad. Like,
which is like. That is a demerit in history, but it also shows you that like they have a level of competency that really is surprising. You look at this, approaching a year now, that's like one of the worst things they've ever done. There's a point, I don't know if you noticed, but like we got to a point in the show in like the second half or towards the end where like the show seemed like they didn't know where they were putting segments, or people were changing like people's reads, and it was like just fucking from a production standpoint, it seemed so disorganized and panicked. Did you pick up on that?
Nah.
Like there was a part where they were doing reads or whatever else, or like trying to give you the lineup for pay-per-views or whatever else, and like Ross is reading something, is coming at the wrong time, like they're missing camera shots because like one cameraman's not in the right position, the music or they don't hit people's music cues right at the right time to turn it on or off, people's mics come on at the wrong time, you come back from commercial break and like someone was in the middle of their fucking promo had already started before like seconds before they came back to commercial break. I don't know what it was. But it was all over the place, and I don't know if that was because I didn't watch it live, and I was watching off of a copy of it, and I don't know, like it was the English copy, and I don't know if like they were just fucking up the English, or not by English I mean British, like the British version of it or what, but like it just felt like just total chaos in this organization. From a production side, like, the stuff, it wasn't like there's bad stories being told, but it's like, as far as go from transition from this way we're doing, this block of time to go to the next thing, it just felt like everything was always off. Like, at a certain point, maybe like the last half hour, last 40 minutes, but it became so noticeable.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So there was a part where Hangman Page was at the bar and Dasha caught up with him and asked him about his actions for earlier in the night, and then the Young Bucks busted in there and basically kicked Page out of the Elite and cut a promo on him up and down, called him a jobber, and left. And then Hangman was looking all sad and sorry, and he broke a mirror, and it looked like some, as people have described, like some supervillain origin shit, like where he's staring in a broken mirror.
Like, this was one of the super heavy-handed, like, this would be on WWE of like, he is now a broken man, and he is staring into a broken mirror. Get it? It's like, Matt, like, trying or pretending to cry was just, that shit made me laugh. I didn't feel it, just made me laugh. But yeah, like, it was a necessary step. They had to have a confrontation. Calling him a drunk, calling him I get that one. Calling him a jobber was like, oh, so he's having a job. This is a jobber mentality is what he's having. Like,
yes, so I was like, okay. It's a mind state. He said,
it's a mind state.
I only called you a jobber once, but tonight you wanted to act like a jobber. Like, leave the talking to Matt, Nick. Like, stick to the best comeback in the business. But yeah, this was as a big time fan of the Elite, this is whatever these guys fight against each other is always something like I kind of get invested in. So this ain't over, and it's still going. You would have thought the match would have settled it, but smoke's still in the city apparently.
Yeah. I don't know where this is headed, but we'll see.
Yeah. So after that, we had tables match between Matt Hardy and Sammy Guevara, and bro, they beat the shit out of each other in this match.
Did they beat the shit out of each other, or did they just? I don't feel like they beat the shit out of each other as much as they both did a bunch of falling into stuff, and they basically. They beat the shit out of each other, but each other was themselves. They beat the shit out of themselves and not each other. The damage that was inflicted upon each other was done by themselves. Matt Hardy hurt Matt Hardy. Sammy Guevara hurt Sammy Guevara. It wasn't like Matt Hardy was hurting Sammy or reverse. Sammy was bumping his ass off on the apron, through tables, or people getting out the way, and ditto for Matt. Do we know where that cut came from? Was that off the edge of the tables? What caught
I think it was
Sammy's face?
I think it was some type of receipt that Matt gave him for the chair throw or whatever. Because I looked that was not a blade job. That was the side of the head.
I didn't know, but the blood didn't happen until after It
was in commercial, I think, when the blood happened.
So I don't know what was commercial because I was watching the UK copy of it. So Sammy was doing a dive onto out of the ring onto a table that Matt was on. Matt got out the way, and then all of a sudden you see Sammy grab his head, and then you see blood, and I'm like, did he blade off of a table dive?
So one thing about the US version was this match was a lot of it took place in the commercial because something ran long or whatever, and then they were crunched for time, and some people said it seemed rushed, but I thought the urgency added to the match.
Okay.
So
maybe that's why the whole show felt like it. Maybe that's why the stuff I was talking about earlier is what happened is something went over, and then they were scrambling to try to steal minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Sammy ended up getting the win at the end, and then I think they are doing a match at All Out as well, but the stipulation is it has been announced
eye for an eye?
A broken rules match. So I don't know what it is, but this is probably the big cinematic match with those guys, or whatever the fuck a broken rules match is. So I don't know if the road to All Out went up today. I would have to check. They probably explained it there.
Okay.
But yeah, that was it. That was a show. I liked it overall. I want to hear another review from me. For some reason, I was on All Things Elite this week. So go ahead, check it out.
Okay. So NXT. Oh man. I'm going to go short on NXT, and I really mean that this time. They opened the show with your boy relinquishing the title, Karrion Kross. He said, I did everything I said I was going to do. This is not the end. And when I come back, this changes nothing. And I was like, this changes everything. You're going away from us, my guy. So he basically is letting you know, when I come back, I'm going to be a heel. Don't cheer for me. None of that shit. He puts down the title and he walks away. Scarlett touches the green screen, the Titantron screen in the backdrop, up on the ramp, and then the screen catches fire from her touching it. I'm like, so you're still on this magic thing, even though she can't she can't magic this nigga's shoulder back in his socket. This is whatever. After come back commercial break or whatever else it was, we end up getting NXT tag title match, Imperium, Eichner and Bartel versus Breezango, which is that makes no sense because Breezango, they had a title match in the last month. They lost. So they won on the pre-show to TakeOver, so they get another title match, and they had a pretty fun match. Probably somewhere like 3.25. And they win. Breezango wins. They put over that this is the first time either one of them have won a title in WWE. And, you know, they're the champions, of a division that is a shell of its former self. And I don't know when that division ever turns around.
This feels like it's out of another time. Like,
oh, this is not American Alpha's division. This is not DIY's division. This is not Revival's division. This is not Undisputed Era's division. This is not, hell, like, I would tell you this is not Lorcan and Birch's division, but they're still fucking here. This ain't the Street Profits division.
Why? Like, I don't get this. Like,
they need to put, well,
like,
you know what the plan was going to be.
Nah.
They were going to do Velveteen and Loomis as a odd couple tag team, and then you remember that?
You know what? I'm with the Breezango then. No, I'm good.
All I'm saying is, after the Matt Riddle thing, after Riddle, you know, not Riddle, after, you know, Broserweights at pandemic hits, Broserweights can't be a thing. Matt Riddle Dunn goes back to the UK. It went up in smoke. They were supposed to anchor that division for the next 6 months. It went up in smoke. You know how, see? Broserweights, Matt Riddle, smoke, haha. And then they like, we're going to put it on a quality tag team. And then from there, they had no good options for baby faces. They just didn't.
Amazing. All them dudes in the wrestling school. But Breezango.
Whatever. Like, they can have a good little match. They can't have great matches, but they can have good little match. Well, I'll take that back. Breeze can still have great matches, I believe. I believe he can still have great matches. I remember that stuff he was doing Ricochet, at either the beginning of 2019 or the end of 2018. He can still go. You know, one of the better hot tags in the biz is actually Fandango's, but, you know, they're just, you know, they're a tired act. No disrespect to them. It's just like, you know, they did on the main roster. They're here. They fill out of place because, like, they were a main roster act. Like, all these main roster acts, outside of coming back for, like, you know, one show or whatever else, like, coming back as a full-time act, they all feel out of place. Yeah. They all feel out of time because their time has passed them. Like, the closest one that makes any sense is, like, Balor, but that's because they push Balor and protect him like crazy. And they put him in all these matches that you're like, oh yeah, I like to see him versus Gargano or Ciampa or Adam Cole or Damian Priest or Keith Lee. The average person that comes back doesn't get that kind of treatment.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what else happened on the show. I'm doing this all off the dome. After a while.
Freestyle.
Yeah, this is like the first show that I watched this week, and I watched this on Saturday, and then like I watched Super Struggle, Summer Struggle, the pay-per-view Backlash, Dynamite, watched some Seedling because they had their 5th anniversary show on last Wednesday. Yeah, anyway, trying to think what else is important. Oh yeah, so they also, announced that they're doing a 60-man Iron Man Fatal 4-Way match next Tuesday, so next week for the title with Gargano and Ciampa and Finn Balor and Adam Cole. Match should be a super match, one of the best matches of the year. So we'll see what happens. Do not go to overtime. Do not.
Very video game like match. This is something I would have booked in like No Mercy, like on the N64, like with 4 players, 4 controllers. Let's do a 60-minute match and see who can win the most times.
Yeah. And also, you forgot one point. Name me a babyface out of that 4. There ain't one. That's my point.
Look, name somebody that debuted for NXT in the last 3 years in that match, or 2 years.
3 years. It's been over 3 years. Gotta remember, Adam Cole and Red Dragon and them, they debuted at Brooklyn 2017. It's been 3 years. We just passed the 3-year mark.
Okay, so
yeah, but like, Finn Balor's a heel, never turned babyface. Adam Cole never turned babyface. Like, you want to say, well, he's turning babyface based off of this feud he just had with McAfee. I would like to point out to you that, like, early on the show, they had Undisputed beat the fuck out of what's his name? Oh my god. Drake Maverick. Yeah, after like 2 weeks ago, they beat the shit out of Drake Maverick and also Killian Dane and stomped those two out, and they didn't remember the match for no reason. They're still heels. Ciampa on this show, he fought Jake Atlas. Jake Atlas, I think he slapped him, and then Ciampa gave him a shoot headbutt. And I know it's a shoot because after he headbutted him, all of a sudden, a big ass red inflammation popped up on the side of Ciampa's head, and then he proceeded to beat the shit out of Jake Atlas. He stomped the mud hole in him, then gave him the rope, the DDT through the ropes. Then he beat his ass some more. They had to gave him a stretcher job. He pulled him off the stretcher, and then he actually gave him the DDT from hanging off the stretcher. He beat the shit out of Jake Atlas.
Why did they have to be Jake Atlas? Like, use somebody else in the wrestling school, man.
I thought the same exact thing. Like, where is Leon Ruff? Where is Denzel DeJournette? Where is
Luke Menzies?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Luke Menzies, bring out Rick Boogs. He wants to still focus and do all that bullshit behind the plexiglass. Send his ass out there and get his ass whooped by Ciampa. Not somebody with some talent.
Yeah.
Or somebody that you actually, like, could do something with, but whatever. So that happened. It reminded me of when he beat the shit out of Austin Theory. Remember when he beat the shit out of Austin Theory, like, at the beginning of this year, and then they had a rematch like a week or two later?
I seem to recall this.
Yeah, like, it felt like that. Like, this was like, they're gonna have a rematch eventually. And then Atlas is gonna, like, probably go, like, 9 minutes with him and then, like, ultimately lose again. So, there was that. So, Ciampa comes back and officially lets you know that he's a heel. He's back to being sadistic badass. So then you get promos from Balor and from Gargano about and later on, even also from Cole, all saying, laying their claims to good promos for next week's show.
James, last week on the show, I literally said don't book Gargano and Ciampa, and what did Triple H immediately do?
They booked those two in a 4-way match. Yep. And you know what the response is? Well, we said no more matches with those two one-on-one, and now my response to you is, there you have 40 motherfuckers. You cannot put them in the match.
Amazing. Like what would Ciampa?
And you know what's going to happen, right? They're going to end the match. How many DIY tag team spots do you think they're going to do?
They're going to team up, then they're going to fight, then they're going to team back up, and then they're going to hold hands, and then hit each other with a shotgun and shit.
You got me with the hand holding one. You got me with that because it made me. You remember what happened in that fucking cinematic match? Yes. Yeah. They fucking held hands. Like, you tried to murder each other for like the last 20 minutes. Now you want to hold hands? Get the fuck out my face.
One day I will watch that match. One day.
Oh, you never watched it?
I've never watched the whole match. One day I will watch it and I will live tweet I will send messages to the group live while I do it.
Oh man. What was I going to say? Like, there is obviously, like, that's one of the worst things of the pandemic. Like, not one of the worst things of the pandemic, like, that's one of the worst things of the pandemic, like, that match. So, I mean, like, one of the worst things of the pandemic is that forced them to want to get creative, and instead of having their 4.5-star match that was in the bag that they would have had in front of fans, let's change it up. Let's do some cinematic. And they went out there and had a damn 2.5-star match, like, for 50 fucking minutes. But whatever. Yes, I think what else happened on the show. Oh yeah, so I think the match was scheduled to be Mercedes Martinez versus Mia Yim. Out comes Robert Stone and Leah. He says, I'm protecting my investment. We're not doing that match. Get out of here. Then all of a sudden, He's zoomed in on close, and all of a sudden he fucking falls to the ground and screams, and you look down, the camera pans down, and Shotzi has ran this nigga over by the foot again. Look, if you saw, I know you're like, we're beating a dead horse, this is like the third time he's ran this nigga's foot over. I agree. However, if you saw how this nigga Robert Stone was dressed, you were like, this is appropriate. Like, it's almost like, all right, we know we going to the well too many times. How can we make it to where it's still funny? Have him dress more ridiculous every single week, so then you want to see him get his foot fucking ran over, and then Chauncey comes out here and runs his ass over on Masterpiece.
Can we get this nigga some steel toe boots or some shit? Like,
oh, you want to
help this man out?
With the cops. So, what was I going to say? Yeah, so run over his foot. Aaliyah's helping him out. So then Shotzi comes out. Shotzi and Mia have a match. And I gotta say, this is probably the best singles match that I've seen Shotzi have in NXT. A lot of good technical wrestling stuff. A lot of little neat stuff that Mia has a bunch of stuff in her bag, of course. At the end, Shotzi actually was about to be put away. She gets a counter, and then she goes to the top and hits her senton off the top rope for the win. Mia made a face like she did not like that. Could be a heel turn. I heard that, there's talk that she might be in Retribution if they, even figure out if they're actually going to do that. But we haven't seen them on pay-per-view. But yeah, they might be turning her heel. At a time where it's like, there's nobody that's fucking babyface in this, it's a pure babyface in this fucking promotion. We're gonna turn one of the few that we have as a heel. Okay, thanks. So they did a backstage interview thing, that was pre-taped with Candice. Candice talks about her relationship with Tegan, talks about how we travel the world together. I've been, I lived with her when I was in Wales on tour, making this dream work. She took me to see a castle, in Wales, and said that, like, once we recently, we've been at odds, but, we drifted apart, but, I'm not gonna let her stand in my way, and if she wants to, remain friends and value our friendship, she can just come to the dark side, basically. We end up getting a cruiserweight match.
Hey, it might work.
Turn her heel.
Look, everybody else turned. Like, she might go evil.
Bro.
You never know.
If they turn the most generic, blandest motherfucker, white meat babyface they have heel before she even gets to the, like, no. Save it. No, wait. Look, how come everybody always turns heel in WWE and people rarely turn, let me phrase that. How come everybody turns heel in NXT but no one ever turns babyface?
None.
There's no like, I'm on a path to redemption for the times I piss the fans off, I'll make good on it, or I'll kind of make a save with somebody.
You know what they do?
There has to be some rare instance. Like, did Samoa Joe ever turn babyface? No, actually, he was babyface and then he turned heel on Finn Balor. So, yeah. I can't even say that.
Like, what they do is just introduce new baby faces. Like, right. They take their spot. They don't ever turn nobody back.
Right. What was I gonna say? Cruiserweight title match. Swerve versus, Santos. Either last week or a couple weeks ago, when they were abducting and fucking with Breezango, they had this match where, this is actually, the week where I was like furious with NXT. It was like two weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. Santos comes down to the ring to fight Breeze because they had kidnapped and beat the fuck out of Fandango. They come down with Mendoza and Wild. Gets halfway down the ramp, tells those two to go away, leave. So the match goes like 5 minutes. Breeze is working underneath the whole time. He gets, the second his comeback starts, the goons run down and interfere in the match, right? And it's like they were having bullshit instead of matches. They were having, nonsense with the Keith Lee fireball thing. That was that week. I was furious. So this week, do the same thing. Halfway down the ramp, go away, Mendoza, go away, Wild. Then they proceed to wrestle. Dude, we talk about Swerve all the time. I know you have a personal relationship with Swerve and all that and everything. And like, hey bro, Swerve's Raw. and I talk about this all the time every time I see him on NXT, but like, that dude is so fucking good, bro. Like, he's so fucking good and talented and has so many fucking tools. Like, I don't even know what you would want out of him more from a skill set to be able to go out there and have bangers and have a variety of different types of matches and tell stories. Like, maybe given his size, you might want him to do a little bit more flying, but like, what's the point? Like, he can wrestle on the ground. He's a technical wizard. He's one of the best strikers in the world. Like, he wrestles with pace. He can slow it down if he needs to. He's a submission specialist. He has so much. He's so fucking complete as a wrestler. Like, it was like, it reminded me of watching like a lesser version of like those old Adam Cole takeover matches. Mm-hmm. Whereas like, Adam Cole's feels like he's on one level, but the reason he's on that certain level is to make the other guy look like the star because he's the heel, and he's trying to get Zach Gibson as well, like trying to get over this babyface. And I gotta tell you, Phantasma and Swerve did all types of shit to make Swerve look like he's fucking awesome. Match didn't go super long, but like, you know, they got to near falls, and then the goons came down, the odds got evened with the new champions Breezango coming down because, you know, they've been doing six person tags recently. Then in all the commotion, they brought a random mask. So Swerve goes to grab Santos and bring him into the ring. Before that happens, Santos puts on the mask. As Swerve is through the ropes trying to grab him, your boy reaches up Santos and he headbutts Swerve. Swerve goes out like a light and then pins him. It's clearly a loaded mask. You know it's a loaded mask. It's one of those things where it's like, you don't want the announcers or the refs to be. It's annoying as fuck to where you have refs or especially refs, but like also commentary be way dumber and behind than you, the viewer. And these commentators were like, what the hell was that? He went out on a headbutt. And then you know, Stu Bennett, Wade Barrett, who was there doing commentary, pointed out, well, you know, any headbutt can take you out. It's like, no, motherfucker, this is clearly a loaded mask. Like, so whatever. We'll see. You know, I don't know when they finally come to that, but like, I don't want to see a rematch between those two. I want Swerve to be elevated and moved up to like another to, you know, be one of these babyfaces that fill that void that we were talking about earlier. Like,
look, they wanted to get creative. Like, if he wasn't in this, like, they could have just threw him in the 4-way match.
Like, bro, I don't know how many. This is also another one that for Grimes. Grimes in a bigger dilemma because he's a heel, and the whole fucking company, all the top stars are heels now. But like, there needs to be, or I don't know what needs to happen for them to realize, like, how many times someone like Grimes or Swerve has kick-ass matches or kick-ass matches, fun bangers, or great matches in the time they're allotted with everyone. Swerve has had great matches with Gargano in short time, great matches with, your boy, Roger Strong in short time, is one of the only few people that have good matches consistently with, Santos. You know, like, what the fuck? The time is now. Keith Lee's gone. Karrion Kross is out of here. All the old guard is there and stale. Freshen this shit up.
Like, bro, like, those 4 people in the match, like, I would literally have them in 4 programs with people.
Right.
Pick one of them that you want to win the belt, fine. But after this, like, it should literally be, all right, who we gonna give to Johnny, and let Johnny pick a guy? Who we gonna give to Ciampa? Let Ciampa pick a guy. And who we gonna give to, like, you know, Cole? And then Cole, you pick like Cameron Grimes or some shit.
Right.
Like, that's what you should do.
Right. Like, right now, the time is now for it needs to be, you know, basically a lot of the breakout guys from the last couple of years, from last year, like Swerve, Damian Priest, Cameron Grimes, Kushida. Like, this is their time now. This old guard is like, no knock against them or whatever else. I still want to watch them have matches, but they need to be having matches with these guys, and they need to be going back and forth and feuds and all that kind of stuff and move forward. Like, if you got these 4 guys and it causes a glut at top for TakeOver, fine. Put the young guys in there with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, and then the main event, I don't think there's anything else that really mattered, but like the main event was Io and Rhea versus Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez. I keep calling her Reina, her old name. So this entire match is showing you that Dakota Kai, over all the months I've been talking about, all the times that like everybody's put her over, every time she ever put over is when Raquel has won these matches for her, or when someone else has interfered in her matches. Io and Rhea beat the living shit out of Dakota every time she's in the ring. And the only time they get any positive momentum is when Raquel gets in the ring and uses her dominance to turn the tables.
So dominantly.
They started the match with Rhea and Raquel. Rhea tells Io, get the hell out the ring. I want to fight. I want to lock horns with the monster. It's finna be giant versus giant. It's finna be an Amazon slamathon in this bitch. So they start to wrestle a little bit. They lock horns, test the strength, all that. All of a sudden, Io tags in, and then Io uses her speed, quickness, and precision to thwart this big giant. And Dakota gets in. They proceed to beat Dakota's ass. Raquel does some smart stuff to change tables or whatever else, like, you know, pulling people off of the apron or whatever else. Then you get to a point where they get the heat on Io. Io's in the middle of about to make a hot tag for Rhea. Mercedes comes out, pulls her off of the apron, and Io is stranded. And you're like, oh my god, Raquel's about to pin Io and be the next challenger. They teased like 3 different near falls that I bought all 3 times, just like sitting back. I leaned in the back of my chair like, I can't believe they pinned Io Shirai with this fucking noob. So every time she kicked out. Then Rhea gets up, gets tagged in, and then she eats the pin from Raquel.
Rhea Ripley, the worst book wrestler of 2020.
If Adam Cole wins the NXT title back, then I would have to say yes. But those two are definitely the most definitely in the running. But yeah, so
all she did is lose, bitch.
So basically, this was to set up that like you now need if you're in the women's division, you need a gun to actually pin Io Shirai's shoulders to the mat for 3 seconds, which I appreciate. I enjoy that. And it's set up that like Rhea desperately wants to fight Io to get her title back, and eventually we're going to get to that match, but they're putting all the obstacles in the way to keep that match away until they eventually do it, and they're going to do it. But it definitely showed it, like, you know, people that were saying this shit about Dakota or whatever else is like, watch the TV. But don't text me that bullshit or send me that bullshit. Like, she's always been a geek, and whether it's babyface or heel, she doesn't win her own matches on her own. And, you know, much like we were talking earlier about the protection that Buddy Murphy is for Seth Rollins, it turns out that Dakota Kai is a condom for Raquel Gonzalez, which we pointed that out a month or 2 ago, and here we are now. She's beating Rhea Ripley on national television. But that match was a good match. So was the cruiserweight match. I'd recommend that. I'd probably get at 3.5, 3 3/4. And then the tag match, probably 3 flat, 3 1/4. Probably just 3 flat. But, you know, 3 good matches on a 2-hour show. Decent promo stuff. You know, the booking is still scrambling, because it's always scrambling, because someone's always fucking hurt, and they always scramble. They have to scramble, and everyone's a heel. But it was a good show.
Predictions for the NXT title.
Predictions. You know, If it were me, I'd make it Finn Balor. But I don't know if that's what they want to do. So I think they will go with Ciampa.
I was right there with you. I think they're going with Ciampa as well. Like,
and I don't mind it because
they did
like
that big attack. He had to give up the belt. I know he got fucked by Gargano in Portland,
right.
But I think they're going back to him.
Right. And I don't mind it because when he was champion, this guy NXT, that was the peak of NXT when he was the champion. So
Amazing.
Like, you know, I'm not necessarily saying that like, you know, he's going to like Tommaso Ciampa's going to fix all their ills, but like that is a steady. I imagine if you're looking for a steadying force, that would be it, and you can't go back to Cole.
Yeah, Cole's like, if anybody's not going to win, it's Cole.
I think Johnny Gargano has less of a chance of winning than Cole does, because Johnny Gargano never gets to win shit. So why would it? Oh, now he gets to win. Now when he's the coldest he's been in the last 3 fucking years, and now you want to put the belt on him. Thank you, Triple H. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Might fuck around and do that. Oh my god.
I mean, look. If the idea is we're gonna crank back up this match of year factory or match of year contender factory, sure. Yeah. You gotta overhaul this fucking character and get rid of a lot of the bullshit though. He just feels stale. He still comes out here and has great wrestling matches, but he just feels stale. But Ciampa, I you know, how much longer you gonna have Ciampa? May as well.
Yeah, he can fuck around, retire on your ass.
Yeah.
You know, the wrestling school threatening retirement.
Yeah. You watch Summer Struggle? We're not gonna go through it, but just give some general thoughts. I'm not gonna run through it.
I caught some of it. Saw Shingo lose the belt to Suzuki. It was a fine contest.
Hell of a match. They beat the shit out of each other.
Just, you know, flying kicks all around and all this other shit. And I'm
cracking like, thunderous forearms.
Shingo's my early favorite to win the G1. You drop your belt before the G1 and alarms start going off for me here.
I wouldn't be mad at that. I would probably root for that. I haven't really thought about it, but yeah, I'll get back to you on my prediction for
Toru Yano now owns Chaos. You know,
God.
You know, put Kazuchika Okada's shoulders on the mat for 3, owns them. You know, new leader of Chaos, Yano. What else do we have on this shit? Matsuwato lost.
I didn't watch that match. I was trying to skip through the stuff that I knew would matter. But
Hiromu
how was
no
the match?
longer the champion. It was alright. Watto was fucking a lot of shit up. So
really,
yeah. But they had a match with Taiji Ishimori and Hiromu Takahashi. It's kind of like a shock win. They swapped the belt, so Hiromu also dropped his title before the G1.
Yep. That's the reason why I was like, maybe, you know, because I think yesterday you told me you thought maybe Shingo, and then I saw this match like, what if this was the final?
Could be. That would be
like, I mean, you know, we never got that match.
Look, Shingo.
We all wanted that match a year ago, or
Shingo
2 years ago.
Hiromu. My God.
Put the 5 on the board, and then if it's not, then we'll change it. But put the 5 on the board now.
Right. Like, unless you're gonna do like Ibushi and like Hiromu, or Ibushi and Shingo, or Okada and Shingo, which I think you don't do in the G1.
I feel
that's probably like one of the best matches you can think of for a G1 final.
Yeah. Yep.
Definitely not Evil or Sonata.
Fuck no. This whole experiment is proof that we're past that. Like, we're past it.
We're past Evil.
Yeah. The wrestling Evil. Obviously, we got a long way to go as far as getting past real Evil. Yeah, the Ishimori and Hiromu match, like, I thought it was a great match. I thought that the work on the shoulder was excellent. I was scared to death when he gave him that high German on Hiromu's neck, and I'm just gonna be like that for the rest of my life watching Hiromu wrestle. Like, every time he does one of these things to try to fuck with you, it's gonna work for me. It just is. I saw the dude break his fucking neck. So, I would like for them to stop doing that though. And I also like, remember when they, the match at the beginning of the year in February against, Dragon Lee, when he was like teasing the fucking Phoenix Plex, like, bro, please stop doing this. I'm feeling it in like the bottom of my pit of my stomach, like something terrible is going to happen. Please stop playing with me like this. So, but yeah, they had a great match, worked over his shoulder, they had the tape on it, and then eventually he ended up getting, he slapped on a yes lock, he slapped on a Gargano escape. Look, Ishimori has worked over in North America a lot. Like, that man might have a WWE Network subscription. That man might have been watching Daniel Bryan and Gargano. So, but yeah, really good match.
Wrestled him.
He may have. Yeah. But yeah, I thought it was a great match. I'd probably give it somewhere like 4 and a quarter. I didn't mention, the Ishii and, not Ishii, the, Never title match. I'd probably get at like somewhere between 4 and a quarter to 4.5. I really enjoyed their matches. There
was a big suplex, then the tag match.
Yes.
Taichi's dropped this nigga Tanahashi right on the neck.
And that bothered me too. That bothered me too. It played into the finish.
Yeah.
Played into the finish. So like, I wish they didn't do that shit, but at least it played into the finish. At least it had a purpose. It wasn't just like, oh, let's just do the random spot. Oh, this shit just got, this shit just got out of my hand and the shit just went left. But yeah, that match also a very good match. I'd probably go 3.5, 3 3/4. Yeah, it wasn't as good as the first match. It was not, or the Dominion match where they won the titles, but still a good match. Played off of that with the, after the months and all that stuff of going after Tanahashi's knees, whatever. It was just like, ain't that phone? The rabbit got the gun. Hold this, fuck nigga. Dragon screw the wrong way. Yeah, those four have good chemistry together, and quite honestly, like, I don't know what it is, but I really enjoy when when Taichi's not on that bullshit.
Yeah.
He's fun. He's fun to watch when he's not on that bullshit. It's just, you never know what you're gonna get with him.
Yeah.
Cause you saw when he brought that claw out, and I was like, God damn it, he brought the claw out, and then the Bushi kicked that shit, and I was like, thank you. Or is it the claw? Is it the fist? What do they call it? The
iron claw.
Right, the iron claw. Yeah. Kick that shit. Get that shit away. Keep this shit pure. If you're gonna beat us, you're gonna beat us legit. But yeah, really good match. Really good match.
Double championship match. The era of evil is over, and thank the Jesus.
Thank thee, Jesus.
Well, the problem doesn't go away with Naito having the belt, but at least like Evil doesn't have that shit.
Yes,
like these matches still look. We still ain't at no peak level with the IWGP title at this point.
Are you saying that 2020 Naito is not 2017 Kazuchika Okada? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
I would agree.
No, he's not Kenny either. He's not Tanahashi. He's not Jay White.
2020 Naito ain't even 2018 Naito.
Yeah.
Like 2007 Naito was so raw. This guy is not that guy.
Like, if you guys need a nice reminder on how raw Naito was, right? Watch the G1 final.
Yes.
No, don't even watch the G1 final.
Yeah, that's not fair. Like, that's one of, in my opinion, like, that's one of the best matches I've ever seen.
Watch the match the year before he had with Kenny, and that shit is like, whoa. Like, this is like right before the explosion. Like, essentially, like, the Star Ratings explosion really, like, got nuts. But, like, that was a 5-star match, too.
Watch his Wrestle Kingdom 12 main event title match against, the first one against Okada. That match is also great, too.
Yeah. But he's got this belt now.
His Ishii matches?
Yeah. Those are always pretty good. Because Ishii, look, if you think Ishii gonna let you fuck around?
No.
Alright. Like, so, I think that, him getting the belt back. He goes into the G1 as a champion. Let's see how he does. I'd be interested to see if he's in the in the real thug section or not.
Put his ass in the B block where he belongs. Put his ass there.
I don't know if he's gonna be in the thug section or not, but
because he's a champion, he has to be in the A block.
Maybe, yeah. Well, Kenny was in the B block as a champion. 2019, Okada was in the A block as a champion. 2017, Okada was in the B block as a champion. 2016, they were in the A block as a champion, I believe. So it's going back and forth more often than you think. So,
okay. Put his ass in the B block.
So how would you give the match? Like, was this like another terrible, like, cause I didn't watch this whole match.
Oh my God. It's another one of those matches where it's like, it went like somewhere between 25 to 30 minutes. Which is a definite upgrade over going 38 minutes, but it wasn't a good match. Or let me phrase that. You give it 3 stars, but a 3-star match going 28 minutes is not a good match. It's like, oh, okay, you guys were competent and it went way too long. Like, it's one of those. Like, I can see someone giving it somewhere between like 2.5 to 3. It's a 28-minute match or some shit like that. Oh, that is substandard.
Yuck.
Right. But whatever is one of those, or is one of those where people will say it wasn't about that. It was about the guy that was inspired. You know the story with that stadium with Naito?
I saw a video package, like he was sitting in there, so it was like you bought the ticket to the stadium as a kid, or you want to become a wrestler or something like that.
The last show they had there 21 years ago was the match that inspired him to want to become a wrestler, so he wins the titles back in there, and then you have the shots with him on the floor doing the fist in the air, laying on the mat, with the pyro in the background. Like, it's supposed to be about, it's about that as opposed to the actual quality of the match.
So what you telling me is New Japan Pro Wrestling is now booking
WWE.
for the moments, James? What a fall from grace.
Well, when it comes to Naito, I guess so, because Naito's such a cash cow. Like, seriously, think of how Naito is right now. Like, you want to put that on your undercard?
Look, let
Naito get his Hogan shit off, man. Stop hating.
Look, this is what they want to do. Them niggas gonna fall from all types of critical acclaim, or people can just lie, and act like it's the same thing.
Yeah. They'll be like, look, this is all the same except the main event. The main events don't count. The main events don't count, Rich.
It was like, the last couple years, like, this is exactly the same. There is no difference. This is just as good.
Like,
Stop
the undercard,
the cap.
like, look,
Stop the cap.
Look, the undercards undercard matches are just as good as they've always been. The main event, we ain't counting main events. You're not counting main events? Why? On what earth are we not counting main events?
3 words. Stop the cap.
Yeah. I really don't have anything else to talk about. One thing. On Wednesday, Sealing had their 5th anniversary show. The main event was a tag match between Yoshiko and Hiroyo Matsumoto versus the Best Friends, Arisa Nakajima and Tsukasa Fujimoto. It is better than that Queen's Quest versus Donna Del Mondo tag match that you gave 4.5 stars. I wasn't as high on that Donna Del Mondo match as you were. I gave it 4. You gave it 5. I think you said 4.5, but it's better. It's actually on YouTube. It's not like on some paywall where you got to go somewhere to try to find it. It's on YouTube. So, like, I guess I'll put the link in the description for y'all to check it out. Through. But yeah, they beat. They had themselves a match. So if y'all got some free time, want to watch some Japanese wrestling that's not New Japan, check that out. But other than that, I think that is pretty much the end of the show.
One of the longest ONRs of the year, so.
Yeah. That's the end of the show. Be sure to rate us on whatever app you're using to listen to this. Tell the folks about the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Be sure to visit ProWrestlingTees.com/Social Suplex and pick up some official Social Suplex Podcast Network merchandise. Be sure to check out the other shows on the network. On Sundays, we usually have the show One Nation Radio. On Tuesdays, we have Keepin It Strong Style. On Wednesdays, we have the Ricky Clive Wrestling Podcast. On every other Wednesday, we have Grover Watches Shit. On Fridays, we have 8-Bit Suplex. And on Saturdays, we have All Things Elite. Thanks for listening, y'all. Yeah, and shave your sack. Later, y'all.